Hello, welcome to another episode of the Infinite Podcast. Some crazy changes. I've done some updating of the show, so welcome guys in the chat. Really appreciate every single one of you. We'll jump straight into it and welcome our guest, Kay Asante, man. Welcome back to the show. How you been? How's your week been? What have you been up to?
I take it that was to me.
There you go.
There we go.
I was about to say, although you can't see me on screen, I'm happy to be here. I like the new digs. What's going on, everybody? This is great. This is awesome. How y'all doing?
What's up, Kay? Welcome, brother.
Thank you. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. I'm doing swell, even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Riskit, was that for me to go first, or was that for Kay?
No, that was for Kay.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
You don't guess. What do you mean? You're panel man. I've done some updating to the show, so there might be a few little bugs as we go through the show as I sort of learn how this works. But
yeah,
Umbra, welcome back. How's your week been? What have you been up to? How was the tip?
That sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. But we didn't properly introduce and get Kay's, week.
How's your week?
Yeah, how's your week,
because I'm playing around with stuff in the background, so I apologize.
No. I'm still quite impressed with the digs, man. This is great. I like the software. I like what you've done with the place. It looks all cool and stuff. Last time I spoke with Holly, I was like, "You're not changing into the PlayStation Infinite podcast, are you?" But I like what you're doing here, man. It's good. No, I've had a busy week. Lots of gaming and things. Having some fun. Even though I'm really busy, I ended up on a few podcasts and having a good time, man. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. Umbra, how's it? Whoa, I don't like that. How's your week been? What have you been up to? Umbra?
He's muted.
Oh, is he muted?
He looks muted, yeah.
Yeah, he's muted. Well, look, we'll jump to Holly until he realizes that he's muted. Holly, how you doing? How's your week been?
I'm sure he will interrupt me too, because that's how it happens. Hi everyone. I had a good week. I did the Renegade Realm podcast.
You sound a little low. At least in my ear, anyway.
You're good.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I did the Renegade Realm podcast.
Close, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know.
Get it right in.
Did a podcast on Tuesday, and then I did a very special podcast or event on Wednesday. I actually got invited onto Kind of Funny xCast with Snowbike Mike and Paris. I met Paris a couple times at FanFest, just very casually in passing, and we've bantered a little bit back and forth on Twitter, and so he asked me to come on and talk about Fallout 76 and the Ben Kenobi coins and some of the other stuff I do, FanFest, and it was a super treat to be able to do that and to spend some time with them. Really, really nice guys, and I super appreciate their effort, and I really don't like being full cam and staring at myself while I'm talking, so you need to stop doing that. Riskit has all the power, and it's just not a good thing. So sorry, and I'm kind of dealing with this horrible headache right now, so sorry everybody if I sound a little goofy, but I'm struggling here, but I'm trying. So anyway, it was a really good week, and then here we are, and thank you, Lotus. I see your super chat with my name on it. I appreciate it. It popped up while we were talking, and I'm rambling. But Kay Asante and I are going to have a very special. I'm just gonna do this at the beginning because we're gonna have a very special conversation with Ben Kenobi tomorrow morning about the coins, and the Fallout coin that he made. If you saw it on Twitter, and there'll be some other giveaways. So I'm just promoting that now. That way you can make sure to come by his show tomorrow morning and check that out in case you can't stay for all of this show.
Excellent. Thank you. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And if you don't know what coins Holly's talking about, she's talking about these beautiful coins right now that I'm holding up. They're absolutely amazing. I just dropped it on the ground. That's
There's
perfect.
the Hellblade coin too.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, Ben is an absolute champion, really, really talented member of the community and really generous member of the community to be giving these away. So we'll talk more about that later in the show. But Umbra, are you back with us? Are you muted, unmuted? Nope. Donte, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
It's gonna be a good one.
Umbra's like, we're having technical difficulties. Yeah, my week has been great. I got no complaints, man. I've been enjoying. Still trying to finish out my initial run of Dragon's Dogma 2. So that's my gaming life right now. I think I'm pretty close to the end right now. I'm like level 58 or something like that, but I'm pretty close to the end. But outside of that, man, it's been a blast. A shout out to our girl Holly for having her moment to shine. You did great yesterday, so we're very proud of you. The coins that our boy Ben does are phenomenal. So like anyone who's lucky enough to get some, man, I would highly recommend. Basically, put them inside nice little cases if you can. I got mine that I'm just stacking and hoarding, so that way I can eventually Scrooge McDuck dive into them and be swimming in them. So that's going to be the goal. But yeah, Kaisante, man, glad to have you on, bro. Always enjoy seeing
Always
you,
a
man.
pleasure. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Garuda, how's your week been? What have you been up to? What's going on?
Yeah, man, it's been a crazy week, very busy. But yeah, I've worked like 2 days in the last 14, so yeah, so busy. No, look, I've been just loving life, man. This is all very fancy. This looks fantastic. Risk, you've done a good job with this, I think. So, yeah, I'm just playing. I'm finishing off Jedi Survivor. That game's a bit bigger than I thought it was. It's a lot bigger than Fallen Order. So, I'm enjoying that, and I'm back into Diablo 4. I sort of dropped it when I moved over to PC because I didn't want to buy the game twice. So yeah, man, I'm just loving life. There's lots of games to play. There's lots of stuff to talk about. And yeah, welcome, Kayasante. It's be the first show I've ever done with you, brother. I love your show. I listen to it every week. So yeah, let's
appreciate
get into
it.
it.
Absolutely. And Umbra, have we got ourselves off mute yet?
We do. My headset. Discord had caught my headset and changed the audio. It's stupid. So I had to plug in my old ones just to get rid of that nonsense. But
PC
anyway,
problems.
yeah, old PC here in this
Blame
case.
the bots. Blame the bots. It's the bots, man.
My brand new PC wouldn't have this problem. But anyway,
Sounds like a problem with the keyboard and the seat.
Yeah. I blame Holly personally. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting week. We had a really good show yesterday. It was about 3 hours and 30 plus minutes, and we were talking up a storm about wrestling and from WrestleMania, and we talked about Fallout episodes 1 and 2 spoiler discussion. Though we got so carried away in a wrestling discussion that we didn't get a chance to really dive into it as well as I would like to have had done. So, but we'll be doing like 2 episodes a week. So next week will be 3 and 4, and so on and so forth. If you get the drift. And man, really good time. Loving the show. Happy to be here with you guys today. Happy that Kay is with us today.
Absolutely. I suppose we should we'll jump into what I've been doing this week. This week I've been messing around with this show. I haven't really played anything. I've been fiddling around with this show, trying to get it working, looking good. So when we did go live this week, there was no hitches, but I cannot guarantee anything because it's new software for me. So it's really, really good software as well. And shout out to Red Panda as well for putting me onto it. So I suppose we should jump into the first topic of the week, which is the Windows Central article talking about Sarah Bond diving into, I think she released an email. Sorry, Jez got a hold of an email, and I'll read it out verbatim. She said, "It's been nearly 6 months since we came together as an organization. Our collective achievements in that time frame are tremendous. Everyone should feel incredibly proud of what we've achieved and excited about the opportunities ahead. We are moving full speed ahead on our next generation hardware, focused on delivering the biggest technological leap ever in a generation. what I'm curious about, and there's more to that email, but what is the technological leap? Are we talking brute force hardware? Are we talking more software tools that didn't get used this generation? Sort of where are we at? I'm going to jump to Kay quickly first because I'd be very interested to see if you think that this is just the double speak, or is this going to be the leap that we've been looking for?
I mean, for me, it depends on the leap you're looking for, right? It depends on what your mark of success is, right? She didn't say a performance leap; she said a technological leap, right? And that could mean many different things. Let me see. The example that I used is most people don't know, but the Kinect, if you recall, right, was this big honking thing that didn't work so well, and then at some point, the company that made it was able to shrink it and put it on this thing, which is an iPhone, and that's literally what they use to authenticate you. Taking that big thing and shrinking it down to this size was a technological leap,
Pause.
right? No Diddy. Anyway,
No, did he?
anyway, I would caution folks to check their perceptions at the door and just let them show you what they have, because if you make assumptions, you will most likely be incorrect. I mean, I have my assumptions, obviously. We all do. I'll tell you what I want to have happen, but I can't promise that is what's going to happen. As you've heard me say on many a show or on my show, and when this does happen, I will be very messy. Call me Negro Damas. It'll be hilarious. Anyway, I suspect that they are trying to be ubiquitous with their software. No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, we don't want to do that.
Thank
Come on now.
you.
What are we doing? What are we doing right
The
now? Get out
special
of here with all
zoom
that.
in. Yeah, the special
What are we
zoom
doing?
in.
Like, put me on the spotlight over here. No,
The man behind the controls going wild right now.
right?
He got a new toy.
He's a little too power hungry right now. If you look at what they've recently announced and shown off with the cloud UI, for example, right? You're in the cloud UI. You're basically in an Xbox now, right? I suspect when they mean by technological leap, they are going to make it very seamless for you to be in an Xbox wherever you happen to be, and that would be on a handheld or wherever you happen to be. And I've spoken about it on a few occasions. There are some technology that needs to be brought to bear in order to make it as seamless as possible. You've heard them talk about storefronts being integrated. There's a lot that you've heard them say. I honestly think that that's what we're going to see brought to bear here. They're going to make it seamless to you, the consumer, even though in the background there's a lot of PC and or console changing hands and storefronts and all of this. That is a technological leap. So I'd be careful in assuming that your technological leap will get you 60 frames on Dragon's Dogma, because that probably ain't going down unless you're ready to pay $1,000. And I don't think that's where they're pushing it. So I'm interested to see what that technological leap will be, but I would caution folks to be careful if they think that means they're going to best some other plastic box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I mean, especially with the leap in generations and PlayStation doing that mid-gen leap, which we'll get into a little bit later. But I sort of do think there's been some conversations in a few different podcasts and community this week that does it take away from that technological leap of generation to generation, and I sort of feel like it does. And I was listening to Paris actually talking about this, and he was saying, like, after, what did the 1X really do? And like, there was a jump to 4K, but realistically, what did it? It didn't really do a lot except give you that 4K experience. We got a few games at 60, and then when the Series X came along, it didn't feel like that leap. So, yeah, pretty interesting. Garuda, going to jump to you real quick. What do you think this technological leap is all about? Do you think that this is software? This is hardware? Do you think this is the handheld? What do you think she's referencing when she's talking about that technological leap? And how big will it be? Pause. No, did he?
Yeah, plenty of Diddy there. Look, yeah, much like Kay Asante said, I think you could interpret that any way you want, and I think that was deliberately sort of why she might have sort of communicated it that way, I guess. It was at a time during that sort of State of the Nation Xbox thing that she sort of mentioned that, and it was it sort of allayed a lot of fears. Number one, that there's more hardware coming, and number two, that it's going to be the biggest technical leak now. Leak. Is that a pause? Anyway, yeah. Look, I think
It's
that.
not
I
a
think
pause.
it's going to more. It just feels like they're going to lean more towards, the AI side of it, not necessarily,
Mhm.
This thing's going to have like a 4090 inside of it. I think it's easy to interpret it that way. But I mean, it's exciting. I like when they say that they put she's definitely put the pressure on herself to deliver something impressive, right? And that's what we all want, basically. So, but what that huge technical leap is, can be skewed multiple ways. I mean, a handheld Xbox would be a huge technical leap, right? And so would
Indeed.
something with AI hardware built in. You can spin that any way you like, and I think that's deliberately why they've sort of used that terminology. But no matter what way you slice it, all these things that she's saying, and that being the head of Xbox, are good, because it's showing, there's a rock solid future of Xbox coming. They're not just here to dip the toe in the water. They're going to go big. Another Diddy maybe, but look, they're going big, and no matter what they do, I just want to see them maybe do something different. I want to see them differentiate themselves a little bit from
Mhm.
the next PlayStation. I think they have to do that, and maybe that's what this technological leap has to do with. If they go toe to toe with PlayStation at the moment, that the brand strength of PlayStation, you can't just be a slightly more powerful PlayStation, or they can't do what they did this generation. It's just, you have to break that trend. You have to break the mold in order to grow and be bigger in another area. And I think perhaps that's what she's talking about. I think it's the way she's delivered the message is to generate hype within the Xbox community, which is badly needed. And look, at the moment, I guess from the word on the street, it probably pertains more, like I said before, to the AI stuff, which for me is exciting. I want to see something new. I'll admit, I liked the Series X when I had one. I really did, but it didn't really feel like a generational leap to me. It had the same UI. Everything about it was exactly the same. It had no exclusives at launch. I mean, like, new exclusive games at launch and things like that. I want to see that fixed more so than a huge technical jump. Oh, come on, man. Keeping it real, bro. I was a bit disappointed that they launched. They didn't have any games ready to launch with it. I think they have to do that as much as they need to improve the system as well. They've got to have a strong launch lineup. But yeah, it's exciting. I want to see them do something that makes me move back from PC to console. I really do. So I hope they do that.
That'd be interesting.
I doubt they want you to do that, though. They don't want you to do that.
I know they probably don't, but I
No.
kind of would like. I would like,
Because if you do that, right, that means you have to buy more games for it to make it worth their while that you move to the console.
Yeah.
Right? Because it costs them money for you to buy a console.
Right. This would be a huge technological leap, and that is the rumored Steam and Epic launcher and everything like that on your Xbox.
Yeah.
Now that is a game changer. That would be the game
There you
changer.
go.
That would be the biggest thing ever. Because that would separate Xbox from any other console. It would essentially it would blur the lines of console and PC, and there'll be no game skipping Xbox. There'll be nothing for console gamers to worry about now, because you are now in line with what everything PC gets, and that for me would be the big one. Get Steam and Epic on this thing. Launch day.
Would that bring you back? Would that be? I mean, look, because you've already spent the money on the PC, right? So, I mean, I do wonder sometimes with a lot of these guys that went from, like yourself, that went to from console to PC. Did you jump the gun too early? Like, I mean, I know Kate would totally disagree. I can see in his face.
Well,
right now.
personally, no, because the whole reason I bought, as you guys know, the whole reason I got the PC was because my most anticipated game ever, Starfield, was, running like butt cheeks on the console, and I was so hyped for that game, and then when it was like, 30 frames this, I was just so disappointed that I just went bam and bought that thing, So the whole PC, which was like $4,000 or something like that in Aussie money, and which is a lot of money, was all just for Starfield. But then I realized all the other benefits that come with PC, and it made me realize, like, wait, why wasn't I on here years ago? I'm always complaining about performance on these consoles and machines. I'm always disappointed in having to compromise and choose this mode or that mode. I'm like, oh wait, there's a place where I don't have to, and that's why I did it. But I would love to see them to get me back. It has to be something I can hold like this. I want the handheld, then I'll buy it.
Holly, going to jump to you. So what do you think this technological leap is? Do you think this is the handheld? Do you think it's a massive raw power boost? What would you like to see out of the next console? Would you be happy with something similar to what we have now, with just a little bit more of a performance bump, a little bit more of a graphical leap? Or do you want to see Xbox go hard out and absolutely destroy the competition?
Well, competition is good. But in all honesty, the hardware stuff, like, I don't pretend to understand all of the stuff with it. And I even reached out to Kay last week and I was like, I need lessons, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand it all. Like, I learned a lot about PC when I was trying to get ready to buy mine, but PC and console act differently or built differently, the whole thing, right? So for me, I don't really know what the technological leap is, besides the fact that we've heard Colt, who's in the chat a lot, talk about the AI integration and how that's going to help maximize the use in the console. So I assume that that's going to be, and we know that we've seen Microsoft do a lot of deals lately, right? With Intel, that was a big one. And so we know that they're pushing AI integration into their CPUs. So I don't know. I think whatever they bring, it will be. I'm hoping it'll be significantly different, because I do agree with you. When we went from the 1X to the Series X, I didn't see much of a huge change. I did see quite a bit of difference for me between the base Xbox One and the 1X, or at least that's how it felt when I got it. But it was more about features like quick resume, and those kinds of things that really sold the Series X as as an upgrade. Really, for me, was about the tools on the actual box. But I don't think a technological leap is just making a handheld. I don't think that you could call that that. It would have to be something entirely different and bold and never seen before to actually kind of qualify as a technical advancement in a handheld, to me anyway.
Mm-hmm. So a handheld couldn't be that leap, even with a dock, if we're talking about docking to a GPU.
I mean, that kind of like the Rogue has, where you have the Rogue and then you can buy the dock that's like $2,000 that makes it like a 4090.
Yeah.
That would be super cool, and I think that would. Kay's like, no way, Jose.
No.
But
No.
I
Even
think it
that's
would be
not a 4090.
cool.
They faking snake oil.
Yeah, they
Snake
do.
oil,
Okay.
I say.
All right. It's 4090 adjacent.
Yeah.
Anyway, but for those people who are always clamoring about, I want a mega console, right? I feel like that would probably get them the closest, where you could still have it as just marketable for everyone, but then sell this additional piece at cost, or right around cost, and then be able to have the people who really want that have access to that at a price.
Yeah, absolutely. I just had an epiphany while I was flicking around backwards and forwards, something to do with the software in the background. So, Donte, we'll jump to you. What do you think this technological leap is? Where do you think we're going? What's this? Is it a raw power leap? Which is what I personally would like to see, but I just don't think it's going to be that. I think there's going to be obviously a bit of a bump in raw power, but I think they're going to continue to sort of push the tools. I think something that Special Nick says quite often, and I completely agree with, is make the console easy to develop for. I think that has always been key. Do you think that that's what they're sort of going to push this generation? They're going to look to tools, but making things easier for developers, so we get the full use of consoles.
I think that's what. So, all right, I'll talk about what I want versus what I think. I haven't dived enough into it. I know our good friend Colt put out a video recently that I need to take a deeper look at. But what I want, obviously, is for something to kind of promise on what we thought we were going to get this generation, right? We thought we were going to get a machine that was going to be able to consistently push out pretty much all games at least 60 FPS. So what we want is for something to at least hit that, and if not more, and then maybe some additional tools, if depending on, like, what games are properly implementing something for ray tracing that we can actually notice as the casual fan. So I want something that's basically the ability to make me feel like I don't have to be envious of playing on a PC for most games, especially ones that come out for first party. What I think is going to happen, and they can call it a technical leap, is that it's going to be maybe they're addressing their play anywhere strategy, where basically they're saying, hey, we're instead of just making a dedicated handheld, why don't we do something that kind of handles both things? So we get something that handles the new hardware for local, and then something that you can also take with you mobile. And if it'll be more powerful than what the Switch is doing, then they can sit there and say it's a technical leap, especially if they implement the ability for some of the stuff that we've been hearing about, like Steam or Epic Store being able to kind of be launched on that, so that you can say, yes, that's a technical leap. It's not what I specifically am looking for, but again, I guess we can wait and see. And if it turns out to be something that's really, really viable, and especially if it's going to be mobile, if it has decent battery life and good performance, I guess we wouldn't care. But personally, like I want a beast machine. I like the power narrative. Xbox has held that for quite some time for a while, and I kind of like that narrative. I like the idea of having something that, like I got a PC mainly for playing VR. That was my main reason for it. And I've been playing some games on it that aren't available on console, but for the most part, I enjoyed playing on the couch with my Series X, and I upgraded to the One X specifically because I wanted something to, make my games look pretty on a nice 4K TV. So I want them to basically have something that when we're seeing these comparisons for Digital Foundry, we're not saying, was it close? Like I want something that's like, oh, okay, you guys, you did your thing. You got the machine that has the better, that performs the best in games, look and perform the best on it, and maintain, a high consistent frame rate. So that's what I would like. But I think what they're not specifically coming out and saying that it's going to be the most powerful hardware. It's just the generational leap lets me know that there's a bunch of wiggle room for what they want to do. And I think it's more of them trying to address a couple things, which is more like focus on play anywhere. So the mobile plus local, I think, is the route we're probably going to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so as well. But I'd also like to see that power narrative being held onto, or at least a lot of importance placed on it. Umbra, jumping to you, what do you think we're going to see this next generational leap? Is this hardware? Is it software? Is it a combination of both? Is it being easy to develop for? Where are you at with it?
Well, I think it'll be a combination of all of those. Of course, if they want to keep it simple enough, I'm sure they're going to stick to that x86 architecture. Would I be right about that, Kay?
Absolutely, yeah. I think you get a bit of both. So, I don't think they separate the handheld from the house console. Yeah. x86 will live, but I think you might see some ARM too.
So according to the leaks that we had, of course, they point to the CPU being ARM 64, which is more for handhelds and mobile, versus the x64 rather, Zen 6. So we know that speaks to the alleged handheld version portable thing that we keep hearing about, right? The two SKUs. So I think it'll be a bunch of those different factors. Risk. Also, let me ask you, Kay, if it's telling us, at least in the documents, that the GPU will be a Navi 5, what could we compare that to if we were talking in GPU specs as far as the PC?
That's always the dangerous point, man. Like I'm always reluctant to compare the PC variant to the console because the toaster that was the PS4 brought you The Last of Us 2. So all bets are off. You know what I mean? Like in GPU parlance for PCs, you always have to account for overhead. Yeah, it's a 20 series card. Yeah, it's a 30 series card, because you're going to be brute forcing to a certain extent to get it to run the way you want. But when you focus solely on the hardware, like dedicated focus on that hardware, it could be a Switch, and the things that come out of it are like magical. So, setting a standard always kind of gives people the wrong impression. Like, to me, what they need to do is dedicate some hardware time to it, right? Will developers dedicate the time necessary, right? That's what will matter. It could be the baddest box out there. It could be the baddest box out there. Oh, now I hear myself. Now I hear myself. I hear myself. Oh, I still hear myself. What's going on, Riskit, man?
Echo.
What did you do?
Groundhog Day.
We're looping.
Mm-hmm. Do y'all hear me twice? Because I hear me twice. Okay, now I
Now
don't.
it
I
stopped.
did hear you.
It's gone.
Okay.
Now
Now it's
you're
gone.
gone.
So good you had to hear yourself twice, Kay. That's all it was. Anyway.
I'm like, hey man, I love my voice, but come on now. Calm down.
What is that?
Oh, now he's all now we hear echoes. Grinding.
Wait.
I hear some type of spirit in my eardrums. I don't know if I should unplug and get out of here or what.
We should be good. Are we good now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Uh,
Excellent.
Hey,
I
hey,
think
Go
so.
forth,
hold
Umbra.
up, hold up,
So-
before you can continue, Umbra. Just want to do like a check real quick because some people in the chat are saying that we're coming through low. Hey,
You
Xbox
definitely
Mike,
are.
Are we
Yeah.
still low?
I
Dante,
think
You're
it's
lower than the
I
rest.
think it's
Said I'm low,
specifically
too.
to you. Oh, okay. It's both of you guys. Okay.
How about me?
Yeah.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. So
You're a
yeah, I think you
little
guys
quiet.
need to get up on your
Oh.
mics, like almost throat those things if you can.
No, pause. Pause.
No Diddy. Ooh, way down.
Pause.
There was so much Diddy there.
Ugh.
Look at the size
Oh,
of
all
it.
right.
Make sure you guys volume is fully turned up on the three dots next to your image.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that might be
Yeah,
it.
yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
How
you
am I
got
sounding?
louder.
Seriously. Am I
You
good?
got a bit louder just now.
You sound good. Yeah,
All right.
you sound good.
Okay.
Yep. Donte, you want to try yours?
Yeah, I'm fully max on that, so it must be something else.
I think you sound a little bit louder though.
All
You
right,
do. You do.
I think so.
All right,
Yeah.
I turned it on the focus right, so hopefully that's it.
Okay. But as far as what they'll be doing with that, I mean, the documents also tell us that there will be next gen DirectX ray tracing. I'm not sure how much that's going to transition as far as compared to a PC. I'm just not sure how that'll work out. And then they also talk about dynamic global illumination and all these other things. I am unsure how to properly read that. Kay, I know I would typically go to you when it comes to these types of things, of course, with you helping me with the PC situation. But I would think it's vague enough that when they say it's a technological leap, the biggest leap, whatever, they said it vaguely that way so it can sound like, oh, it'll be powerful. And much like Donte, I do like a powerful Xbox. I do like them having the power advantage. I feel the same way. But I don't think that'll necessarily be the case. It will be powerful, I'm sure, comparatively to what we have now. But I think it'll be they may have been speaking on other things. It could have been AI implementation for all we know. I don't know. So I'm not too sure one way or another. Although I'm just happy or intrigued, I guess I should say, about the possibility of there being the two SKUs, one being the handheld, and especially since I love my ROG Ally, and having a portable Xbox, a la like a Switch if situation, and having decent specs with it. So that's what I'm looking most forward to.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think we'll see that ARM architecture sort of come through in the next generation?
It's possible. I mean, I don't know how that'll play out. I mean, ARM architecture in general, with what they're aiming for with it, what it seems like at least, like I was just telling Kay, is basically for the handheld. So that's what that would be for anyway, the ARM 64. So I'm thinking that's what that'll be.
They could bring it to desktops, right? Like ARM has come a long way, and I say this, and Riskit will start smiling. His PC his Mac right now is really shining in ARM right now because that's what's made them outshine the rest as far as performance up until now. And actually, to the point that Sarah was making about them putting a team together for backward and forward compatibility, that's literally what that speaks to, right? You need backward and forward compatibility when your ecosystem is changing in the background and you're trying to keep compatibility there, right? That's why you've heard me say that before, actually. There's a world where they go to ARM, but if they go to ARM and then they have to change their entire development pipeline, that is square one. No one wants to see that. It would be terrible. It would take a long time for them to get right. But if you're setting up backward and forward compatibility, that means, and forward compatibility is the key there. That means no matter what developers do, you still got it, and you can change any underlying ecosystem you want, and it's still connected and it's still working.
So, Kay, let me ask this. So typically with the ARM 64, because x64 CPUs are faster and more powerful, but they require a lot of power, obviously, which is why I got the 1,000 watts and all that. But with the ARM 64, you see me. I'm sorry, I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to sound PC Master Race over here.
Oh, no. I see a pinky in the air every time you talk, sir, but continue. Go ahead.
Listen here, I don't want to sound too braggadocious.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
But no, but with the ARM 64,
Uh-huh.
it's typically lower powered. They typically, like I said, for smartphones and things of that nature. So to me, that does speak to the 2 SKU situation.
Mhm.
But I just don't see the power part coming from that. How do you think they'll play that out?
It's optimized performance. That's what ARM can give you, right? You can achieve relatively the same performance level without having to actively cool it, right? So that means when you do actively cool it, you can hit higher. Like it's true that for a long time ARM has been regulated to phones and whatnot, but as you can see, I don't know if folks have been paying attention, you can like emulate PC games on a phone these days, right? You can do a lot of crazy things on a phone, and they still have passive cooling, right? So imagine putting that, and that's the reason why, I've said it already, if you look at Apple and their benchmarks, they're burning the competition because they have basically taken that ARM architecture and they've put it in a desktop class, right? They've pumped up the core counts. They've actually, in certain cases, started actively cooling it. So when it's getting hot, it's getting actively cooled. There is a potential that ARM will be able to do what standard CPUs currently do now. That's the dream, that's the hope, that's the vision that all of them are heading towards. So I wouldn't quickly assume that because you see or you hear it's ARM, that it will just be a mobile processor. It could find its way into your console proper, right? We don't know what the world is looking like. Intel is betting so big on NPU chips that have historically just been in ARMs, NPUs, neural processors for the AI stuff that people be talking about, right? So, the world is different, right? All I'm saying is don't use historical information to assume that the same will happen. They're changing things beneath your feet all day.
Okay, but if you had to wager though, and based off what we've been hearing, the whole hypervisor situation, all these different things, these rumors, what would you wager would likely be the case? Are we going to get 2 SKUs, one being a handheld?
I think so. Yeah, I still think that the 2 SKU approach is what you're going to get, right? Unlike last gen where it was one with the Series S and Series X, right? I suspect the one will be desktop class. I mean set-top box class, meaning you'll be your normal standard console, which will most likely either be the same performance level or a little bit more powerful than a handheld class, and that will also live there. Right now, the technological leap that people are talking about, that may be, hey, developer, you just develop once and don't worry about anything, and we'll take care of the profiling for console, desktop, set-top box that you're used to, as well as skewing, as well as profiling it so that it can handle battery life better, right? You don't deal with anything. You just do what you've always been doing. Hell, you develop in an x86 way, continue to develop on your x86 environment. ARM will take care of it through the hypervisor layer. We'll take care of all of the grunt work. You just do what you do, and it'll just work on all these places. That is a technological leap.
So you're saying they would have an ARM console as well as an ARM handheld? Because it wouldn't make sense to be running both. That'd be even a worse decision than having what I believe was one of the...
Well, see, understand, it doesn't matter if they have multiple underlying ecosystems, as long as where you develop is exactly the same, which is exactly the same as it is today, right? If you add a hypervisor layer to it, within that layer, you can develop exactly as you're used to, and it's just up to that translation layer to translate it to ARM, which they're working on now, right? So you, developer, don't change anything. You profile it the same way, you do everything the same, and then that layer takes care of everything in the background, right? So it is a transition, but you won't feel that, right? And it'll still perform the same way you want it to. The devil will obviously be in the details, but it is possible. Even today, that is possible, right? I've said the example of I used to, in a former life, I used to make music. Apple, in their crude, horrible way, took my favorite equalizer software, my DAWs software away, made it Mac only. So I had to start going onto Macs. When I discovered that Macs were just snake oil and it would charge you too much for relatively the same hardware, now I run a hypervisor on my PC. My PC is a Windows PC. I load it up, and in that hypervisor, it's a Mac inside the software, and it looks like a Mac.
do you want to explain what a hypervisor is? Just because there's a couple of guys in the chat asking about like what is a hypervisor.
Oh man. Okay, so now I feel like I'm at work. Let me be quick with it. Let me see if I can do this at a base level, right? So basically, what a hypervisor does is instead of one PC, right? Because a PC is a bunch of hardware that has the software as the brain, right? It gives the instruction set to the hardware. The hardware goes and does what the software tells it to do, right? And everybody knows the paradigm of you have an operating system, it runs the hardware, and you run. What a hypervisor does is it sits beneath the hardware, so above the hardware. So you have the hardware, and then you have the hypervisor operating system on top. And instead of it just being able to give instruction sets to one piece of software, it can give hardware throughput to multiple pieces of software, right? So that means you can have 3, 4, 5 computers running on one machine, and each machine thinks it's the only one running, right? And what's underneath that machine, which would be the host of this, right, can be anything it wants as long as it has enough performance to be able to give the guests what they're looking for. Actually, the Series X does that right now. You turn it on, you get the desktop UI. That's a different operating system. You say you want to play an Xbox One X game, that's another hypervisor. You say you want to play 360, another one. That's why the what do you call them? The logos pop up. That's right. Exactly. Those are different hypervisors that pop up that then the host gives the guest the power to. That's the reason why they can sit there and go, oh, FPS boost, because they're giving it more virtual hardware. And inside the operating system, it doesn't know it's virtual. It thinks it's real hardware, right? Anyone with a Windows 11 Pro can do that now. Type in Hyper-V, install it. You can play around with it. It's available to you if you have a Windows 11 Pro or 10 Pro or whatever. You know, it is, I mean, and I'm explaining it very derivatively. Forgive me. It's a very, very, boilerplate explanation. But at the heart of it, it's the ability to separate the brain from the physical hardware and place it wherever you want. That's literally what's happening.
So you just basically move it around like it's a container. For a layman's term, it's basically
exactly what it is. It is a container, but containers are other things in tech. But yes, to a certain extent, it is a container. Yes.
Okay, so dumb this down like we are 2-year-olds, and then tell it again. No, I'm joking.
But yes, needless to say, it's cool. It's interesting tech. And hopefully they can make it work, because the devil will definitely be in the details.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the things that they are doing with ARM is pretty impressive. I mean, you can get Resident Evil 4 natively running on an iPhone 15. I haven't tried it. I have the iPhone 15 Pro. I have the chip. I don't want to spend the $70 because I've already played Resident Evil 4. Also, I have heard it cooks the phone. So I don't.
15 minutes and your battery's dead. Yes, but it looks beautiful.
For those 15 minutes, it'll be glorious.
That's right.
So okay, would you guys say this is a arms race? Yeah, I had to put my shades on with that one.
The shades? We can't see you. What shades? What are you talking about? We can't see you.
Imagine it. That's all you have to do. Imagination land.
Look, we'll jump on to the next topic, but guys, before we do, please hit that like button. Share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. If you're in Australia, I believe that's 11 a.m. in the East. And if you're in the West Coast, Best Coast, that's 8 a.m. Jumping over to the next topic, which is going to be not a video game related, but the Fallout TV show is just taking the world by storm. Unbelievably. I watched a little bit of this. I think I've seen episode 1 and 2 and a little bit of 3, and looks absolutely amazing. Like I haven't. Now, here's a bit of a caveat. I'm not a massive Fallout fan, not a massive Bethesda fan. Didn't really play any of the games, jumped into Fallout 4 and just was like, nah, this ain't for me. But watching the show, I'm really tempted, like Colt was saying in the chat before, is to jump back into Fallout 4. And we're going to talk about this as they bring out a free update as well. Really tempted to jump back in and try that free update and play Fallout 4 again, because this is just the set pieces, the music, the acting, like everything is just on point. I don't know. Is this better than? I mean, I know Destin said it was better than The Last of Us, but I don't know. Is it? But it's pretty good. I haven't gotten to the end yet. I've heard the ending is something.
You're 2 to 3 episodes deep.
Yeah, I'm around about halfway through the third. I
Perfect.
think.
Let's talk about spoilers. So at the end, no, I'm just playing.
No. I will say, should we be spoiling a little bit for the audience?
No.
Maybe
Let's not.
No.
Yeah, let's not do
I'm
that.
one
For anyone who
episode
hasn't
in.
got a chance
One
to do it,
episode
let's
in.
not spoil anything. Just
Please.
talk in general.
all right, so
Please.
let's talk in depth about the second episode. So
Okay, so you're on one perfect. So in episode 2,
Yeah. The ghouls show up, and then
jumping over to Holly. Holly, I know you're a massive Bethesda fan. You are in deep in Fallout 76. You've been trying to get everyone to play that game. I was like, bleh, trash. I might do it. I now might do it because you've got a little bit of hype going on here. But I'm going to need some assistance. I've got no idea what's going on in that world. But what are you thinking of the Fallout series from someone who is a massive fan, loves the games, and knows the lore?
Oh, it's so good. I was really, really concerned when they announced it because I solely hate watched the first season of Halo. I hated it so much. I would walk out of there angry, looking for other people on YouTube, like to commiserate with is their anger at every episode. I did not watch the second season, and I don't think I will. So I was really worried about what would happen with Fallout, and because it's way more personal for me than Halo is. And man, they nailed it. It's beautiful. And the best part about it is what I appreciate probably the most is the fact that it has a lot of fan service in it. It's got stim packs. It's got a junk gun, a flippin' junk gun, which is from Fallout 4. And it's so nice to see a game adaptation that pays respect to the source material, but doesn't necessarily have to redo the source material, right? Because the world of Fallout, it's got a lot of options, and it's got a lot of places where it can go. The story content that can come out of this world is endless. And oh, thanks, Palpatine. The junk jet was in 3 too. That one of the things, and I don't, it's not console war nonsense comparing the two of them. It's not. But I was watching a review today, and one of the things that they said, like, really hit home on why they personally thought that Fallout was a little bit better than Last of Us. And it's because of that fact, right? The Last of Us is a really emotional, beautiful story that's already been written. It's a linear narrative. It's a very specific world with these very specific characters. So the adaptation is following source material that's already there. Whereas Fallout, they're doing a different vault. They don't necessarily have the source material for this, right? So they're coming in and writing a new story, but still showing respect for the world and the vision of Bethesda with Fallout. And I think that is it leaves a lot of places for it to go very bad, but instead it just went very perfectly. It's really good. The gulper that comes up later, it looks so cool. And then I've been looking at all of the weapons, the power armor.
You got to stop
the-
spoiling things there, Holly. You got to stop spoiling things.
It's all in the
You gotta
trailer.
stop
None
it.
of this stuff is not outside the trailer, 'cause I haven't finished it yet either. I'm like 4 episodes in. The vertibirds look really, really good. It's just the power armor just blows my mind every time I see it. I'm just so they look at it, I'm like, how does anybody move in that thing, right? Because in Fallout, of course they can, but how did they create something that looks that weighty and that meaty, and somebody's walking around in it and moving around in it, and just it's really cool. I love it. It's pretty perfect.
Oh yeah, and the vault. Look, I obviously playing Fallout 4 the beginning. I at least played the beginning. The vault's pretty bang on as well. So yeah, look, I mean, as someone who hasn't played the game, so from an outside perspective, say someone who's not really a gamer, like I am a gamer, but someone who's not really played it, who's not a gamer, and then sees this series, I don't feel like you need to have played the games to sort of get how good this is.
And Donte, one more thing. one more thing. I watched the first episode in a party with Red Wolf and my friend. My friend's a gamer, but never played any Fallout. And so we were watching it in a party and we're like, oh there, like at everything that was happening. And they were like, wait, what's that? Like, so we were explaining all the stuff. And even by the end of the first episode, my friend was like, so if I wanted to go play Fallout, which Fallout do you think I should play? Right? Because it's catching people like that quickly, right? They're that interested that quickly.
Mhm.
It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I mean, look, it's making me want to play Fallout. So I might even pick out Fallout 76, a game that I have been ragging on since Holly mentioned it. So, you know, it's got me turned around. Donte, where are you at with Fallout? I know you're you play a bit of Fallout 76 as well. So this would be probably familiar to you as well.
Yeah, so I have a confession to make. Fallout 76 is the only Fallout game I've actually ever played. So like that was like my introduction to kind of the Bethesda universe. And like so kind of like with Holly, when this first got announced, I was a little bit concerned, right? I'm kind of like, all right, please, don't screw this up. I think it kind of benefits in a way, like in comparison to like The Last of Us. The Last of Us can follow a particular story narrative that we saw play out in the first game, and literally it's because the first game, it kind of plays out like a movie. It's a story that you could easily say could translate to film. This one is, I think Fallout has a little bit of leeway because they have the ability to kind of go wherever they want, right? Like they could just be faithful to the world, but go wherever they want in terms of like telling compelling stories within inside the universe, but just showing things within the world as to the type of entities and characters and items that are in the world that the fans are going to kind of recognize. So me being someone who had never played who hadn't played any of the original Fallouts, but played 76 and got to start understanding like things that I recognize from the show. Like it definitely made it easier for me because like I can sit there and I can understand like, I see what a rat roach is and I know what that is. I can understand like, the whole idea of the pit boy. I can understand the whole idea of the power armor and the different factions and stuff. I know what a ghoul is. That's all because of the fact that I got a chance to play 76. The layman probably watching is going to see this and just see like a pretty cool, funny, brutal post-apocalyptic movie that doesn't hold back. They're going full bore, right? They're not basically at all like playing nice and stuff. They're heavily leaned into like the gore and but also it has a good sense of humor. I finished it. I watched it all within the last couple of days. I really enjoyed it. Maybe probably finished it a little bit too quick, but that's cool. I'll probably go back and give it a watch a little bit later. I think we're kind of in this cool spot as gamers because like for the longest, there have been movies that have been made for games that have been trash, right? Every adaptation for a movie has, for the most part, turned out to be a miss. I think television has actually been kind of like the reprieve that these gaming shows have needed because it allows them to be able to have time to tell more cohesive stories. So like, like Halo is something that's near and dear to me. First season, completely didn't like it. Second season to me redeemed itself. Really, really enjoyed it. Kind of got it back on board. Seeing what they're doing right now with The Last of Us and stuff. Kind of curious as to how they're going to do season 2. But season 1 was a tremendous success and hit for them, and it was done really well. And now Fallout, which I don't think anyone who heard about this being launched thought that like they had confidence that we were going to get something that wasn't going to be like man, what are you guys doing? So for it to have turned out as good as it has, I think that bodes well, and I would like to see like I'm definitely curious to see where the story's going to go, but I'm also curious to see like what other really good beloved IPs could kind of make its way to TV and tell some pretty good compelling stories. So yeah, Fallout, man, I'm all over it. If you guys haven't checked it, I highly recommend, especially if you're someone who enjoys the Fallout universe, and even if you're not, if you just kind of like the idea of a post-apocalyptic setting and just to kind of see some cool, interesting characters. Goggins kills it every time I see him on screen. Dude is just phenomenal. That particular role, I think he was just meant for it. Just brings such a charisma and cachet to that particular role. He just plays it effortlessly. So yeah, I'm all over that one. So highly check it out if you guys haven't.
So having finished the series, Donte, do you want to tell us the ending? No, don't do that.
Yes. Okay. So listen.
having finished the series, like as in a
Listen.
comparison to, and this is not a console war comparison. This is like just a genuine question because I really, really enjoyed the games The Last of Us, and I really enjoyed the series. But in your comparison, like, do you think that it's comparable? It's better? Stands around about the same? Like set piece wise, I think they're both fantastic. And the ending of Last of Us was great. And I have made it all the way through the series. So I'm curious, what do you think? You think it's comparable, or where's it?
I personally don't kind of get like the idea of saying like, one has to be better than the other. I think they're both actually done very, very well. You know what I'm saying? And they're both like wholly two different types of things, right? Like one is kind of set in more of a grounded universe, shall we say, in terms of like, outside of the fact of the infected in The Last of Us, but the story beats, the character arcs seem more grounded compared to Fallout is a little bit more like whimsical and kind of, a little bit of humor mixed in there with some pretty. It's just like you never know what type of adventure and people, what type of character you're going to come across in Fallout, which is kind of like the beauty of that particular game. But they're like both shows, in my opinion, are just done really well. Like the people behind them, it seems like they cared about paying homage to the soul of the games, right? And then at the same time know how to then translate that to the screen for the casual audience to pick up. So yes, you're going to keep the fans saying, okay, great, I see something there that I recognize, I see something there that I appreciate as a fan of the games. But then the layman who has like no clue as to what the game is can sit there and say, this is a compelling story and I want to see more, or this is a fun story and I want to see more.
And the only, just to clarify a little bit on that too, because I agree, they're both fantastic shows in their own right, and they are not the same type of show to be comparing them. The only reason that there is this comparison going is not because of the value of either show. I think the only reason that at least I'm interested in hearing when people say that kind of thing is just the critique on how a video game adaptation is being done, whether it's successful or not. So, because they're both fantastic, right? But I agree with you. They're not the same. They're not the same tone. They're not the same universe. It's just completely different. But we've had a lot of bad video game adaptations everywhere, right? So it's nice to see when two come out that are very popular franchises and they come out successful. So I think that's why the comparison is happening.
Are you trying to tell me that Street Fighter, the movie, wasn't great?
I am definitely telling you that is a fact. Yes.
Bison, you're off the air. You had Raw Julia in there. How dare you say that?
Sorry, Garuda, you were about to jump in?
No, I just said the animated Street Fighter movie was awesome.
Oh yes, yes it was.
Absolutely.
That was sick, bro. Yeah.
And we got
yeah, well, I mean, guess kicking it to Umbra, like you've got yourself down as the Vault Dweller Umbra. So what are you thinking so far? Whereabouts are you at in the show? How you feeling about it?
I only speak in spoilers, so everybody get ready to get spoiled all the way up to episode 7. That's where I'm at. Yes. So here we go. Here's the synopsis for every episode. First, Lucy. No, this being honest, this show is as honest as I can say it, and I don't think it's recency bias because I have tried to check that. Not to say that it can't happen, but I go back and I look at other shows and other adaptations, and I look at Halo, which season 2 was really good. Kay, I think you would agree, especially since you did such a great job in there yourself as Captain Keys. I would say
shout out to Captain Keys. Come back, Captain Keys. Get back on camera, Captain.
Shout out.
Y'all are terrible, man. Y'all are terrible. Continue.
But as far as Halo season 2 was really solid. Obviously, part 1, the first season rather, wasn't that great. Then you look at other things. I guess I would go to the obvious, The Last of Us. Last of Us was really, really good. I enjoyed it, but I think it was overhyped, and particularly because of episode 3. And I stick to that. I thought I'd heard a bit of an echo. I stick to episode 3 being the catalyst that kind of made people like, oh, it's so good, because it was so well acted and it was emotional and all of that. But I think outside of that, and us having love for Pedro and I forget her name right now, but the girl that played the Mormont. But what was her name on Game of Thrones? She's the Mormont. Yeah, I loved her in there, right? She's a G, a little G. Like our love for them, I think, helped carry that. I mean, not that they weren't great in their roles; they acted the hell out of those things. But I think The Last of Us was really good. But then I watched this and I came in like, okay, let's see how this is. I had fairly high expectations. I didn't think, let me just see how this is, and then I was wowed. No, I came in with high expectations, seeing the production behind it, seeing the people behind it with Jonathan Nolan and what's that lady? His partner that he always works with. Kay, do you know her name?
Oh man, now you put me on the spot. Claire, what's her name? There's Jonathan Nolan and Claire Kindler or whatever. I think that's her name, right?
They're behind behind.
Yeah, Claire Kindler. Yeah. Yes, I'm looking at it right now. Director and writer Claire Kilner, Claire Kindler and
Lisa Joy.
Lisa
Joy.
Oh yeah, she's good.
That's
her writing partner.
Right. Yeah. And so I typically when they're together, they put out some good stuff. I don't know if you all have watched Westworld and things like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
One of my favorites. Now it can get confusing, of course, but I did enjoy Westworld, right? But I see them together, and I automatically I'm like, okay, this is going to be pretty solid. So I'm watching this, and I'm blown away almost immediately by how much love you can tell that they put into this thing. I don't know who all was involved in writing, what consultations they had with Todd Howard and team, but it was clear to me from the Easter eggs that you saw in there, from the way they handled the designs of the vault to the I guess the suits that they had to wear, to the Pip-Boy that they put on their arm. Everything was so well done and so believable. I was just in awe, honestly. And then you step out and you see the actual wasteland and you see the special effects done. It's top tier. And it's a lot of things that settle within me. You see the Nuka-Cola machine in the first episode. I'm speaking specifically for the first episode, so nobody can be like, you spoiled that. I mean, we learn a lot. What's that? What were you saying?
Everybody sound like casual.
I don't. You know what? I think I go to the most annoying voice I can think of when I think of that, and his is it. But why did you? It's his. So it's a few things we find out in just watching. Right, we see that the nukes go off and all of that, which is typical. I hope nobody's acting like you spoiled a nuke went off when they're in the wasteland. But Fallout, the TV show here, it's the furthest set in the timeline, and I hear a lot of typing, and it's apparently canon to the series in general, right? So you had the Great War. Fallout 76 is the oldest in the timeline. I didn't know that at first, but that was the oldest in the timeline. Then 1, 2, 3, New Vegas, 4, and then this show. This show is set eventually in 2296. So all these nuclear fallouts and stuff had been happening apparently before that. One thing I had found out was Lucy McClane, the star. For one, I thought she was excellent. Ella Purnell, I thought she did a great job. I love her casting. I love her quote with the okie dokie. I love all of that, right? She had a quirky kind of personality, and she's courageous as hell. I think it's impossible to go away and not like her, right? So great casting. I came to find that she voiced Jinx in Arcane. Did you guys know that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I had found that. I think you knew that because I shared it in the chat the other day, didn't you, Kay?
I found out because I had no idea about Arcane at all, and as soon as I finished watching that, I researched everybody because I needed a campaign and it was nowhere to be found. So I spent some time researching.
I should have known better than to test you. You knew, but.
But I love that show. I still think that show is amazing. Yeah.
It is amazing. Boom hadn't watched it yet. I told him, boy, you get on that.
Wow, he has to. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. When you look at the casting though, and you look at this is why I say it's so inspired, because you even look at now the great actors aside. Kyle, what happened? Great acting aside, Kyle MacLachlan, who plays her father, Hank. he has kind of those, if you all have watched any
Did we
of the
just lose Umbra's audio?
No.
is it
No, I can hear
you
him.
I hear him.
I
Yeah.
can hear him.
okay? So
Okay.
he has kind of like these buggy eyes, if you all have noticed, right? It's the best way I can put it. Lucy
He's
Ella
from
Purnell,
Twin Peaks.
she's Twin Peaks and many other shows and movies.
Yeah.
Many, yeah.
But he has kind of those buggy eyes, and Lucy has those. So I thought that was just, if you go off correlation of like, oh, that's her father. He does look like he
Dougie.
would be her father.
Dougie
Just things of that
from
nature.
Peaks.
Exactly. And then
They have the same kind of jawline. They really,
Same
really
jawline,
like have,
exactly.
yeah.
They
They
look
make
like
Todd
they could
McLaughlin
great-
did.
great
Yeah.
Excellent
character.
actor too.
I agree. And then you meet, obviously, I don't know how many other people you meet in the first, so I don't want to go too far, but you meet Maximus, obviously. We hear about, okay, I'll stop going there. I'll stop there because before I go too far. All of those things I thought played so well. The set pieces are excellent. So it's not just relying on, CGI and practical, but it's just, I shouldn't say not just CGI, but it's also practical effects, which I really, really liked.
Especially a
And
lot of the in the vault stuff in the settings.
Mhm.
Like I was walking through a lot of areas and I was just kind of like, or looking at a lot of areas. I'm like, I've been in the game and seen like parts of the vault that look exactly like that.
I agree, and I really appreciated that. Even the whole sensibilities of the music, which it was obvious they would have to go to that, right? They can't be using modern music, right? But I thought it was really, really cool. And you saw like for instance, the Grognak, the Barbarian comics and stuff they highlighted, which is in the game, and you can use that as to build up your Barbarian trait, or for instance, one thing I picked up on, and I shared this in the chat, I don't know how many people paid attention, but you all remember the hot coffee controversy with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, right?
Yes.
I don't.
I watched when you were talking about it. I hadn't watched the show yet, and when I watched the show, I think you might be onto something here.
You think? Well, yeah. See, so
I think you might be. Yeah.
To explain it to you, Donte, and to those who might not know, the hot coffee scandal was in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where I believe I don't know if it was a modder or just somebody who found a way to get into their home.
So it was actually developed into the game.
Right.
So it was actually an arc in the game where you could romance, an NPC in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this hot coffee thing that they actually took out, and a hacker went in and found, and then modded it in. So yeah, you were saying. Sorry to jump in.
Yeah. So it was put into the game, but I believe somebody either modded or got somehow to get to that actual piece that was cut out for most people to get to. But some developer at Rockstar absolutely programmed it into it, and basically you can see CJ and whom is date or whatever having sex, essentially. So there's a scene here where that happens, is a sexual scene, and they start playing a song by Scatman Crothers called "Keep That Coffee Hot." Oh, keep that coffee hot, and I'm like, that has to be a call out to the hot coffee scandal. It has to be. Just so coincidental to me. I just love that thing about it. But I can go on and on because honestly, I hate to say it like this, and I don't even use this word, but I was gushing with praise. I thought the episode.
Pause.
Good. Ooh.
You all see how they try to constrict me? Pause. Yes. That's an appropriate sound effect for the time. Actually, it works for the setting. But I loved it, man. I'm like I said, I'm up to episode 7. I'm trying my best not to give anything away, so I'm purposely being kind of vague and how I'm saying
we
what I
need to have a
say.
conversation once you finish, so I can talk to you spoilers. I've been nipping at the bud, but I can't talk to nobody who hasn't finished it yet.
Oh wait, you've watched all episodes?
All of them, bro.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I got to get on the roll. I'm going to finish up the last 2 tonight for sure. But yeah, all I can say is I honestly would say I think this is the best game to TV or movie, whatever adaptation I've ever seen personally. And I don't just say it because it's an Xbox property or because it's recency bias. I just think it's that damn well done. Great acting, casting, just love of the property. You can see it, and it kind of made me feel away with how they did Halo. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a tent pole, and then you allow that for that. Now I know Halo is a bit harder to do what you have to do for it. Still, though, I have to say it feels like B tier compared
It's
to
about
this.
it's about sticking closer to the source material, and like you got a bunch of stuff right there for you to use. You don't need to necessarily try to completely make your own thing that much different.
Yeah.
And it's parts of this where we're like, man, if you see how they're doing this, Halo could have done the same. So
Yeah, exactly. I knew it was going to be a Who brother in the chat. That's why I said it, because I knew Bobby Hawk was probably in there like, oh, yeah, sure. See?
Look at the precedent though for like Gears and the upcoming shows that they've got coming forward. It's like, okay, we can still respect the law, respect the source material, and build an original story. It doesn't have to be directly from the game. Even if you go back to The Last of Us, they took a lot of license with even quite a few episodes in there that I personally appreciated. Some didn't, but I think those that haven't played the video game as well would have appreciated. And I think, going forward, it's not really about sticking perfectly to whatever story it is, but looking after the lore, the source material, and respecting that. Before I jump to someone else so quickly, there's a few super chats that I missed here. And I couldn't figure out what Lotus Esprit was saying because they put up some stickers and they appear to me like this. So Lotus Esprit with $10 super chat says video game controller evolves into muscle version of itself under the word level plus. That's a sticker. I couldn't figure out what Lotus Esprit was saying. I'm like, this is weird. Thank you for the sticker.
You thought you had a stroke or something, didn't you?
Yeah.
Risk it like, am I unwell?
Bit of a glitch, but Lotus Esprit with a $50 super chat. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. It says at that blue number. Much love for Blue. She is now a celebrity after being on Xcast, and she is everywhere. She'll be on billboards, doing modeling. If you guys want to hit her up on her email, you can send her any offers that you have for like acting roles or whatever you need. Lotus Esprit with
He already told me that she's planning on leaving us all behind when she ascends.
Yeah.
So
That's right, I'm out. Wait, Bobby Hawk was asking if it was a blue soda in my background, and it is a Nuka Quantum.
Oh, nice.
If you can see.
Nice. Lotus Esprit with another $50 sticker, and it was a hippo character sitting in an office chair when they both transform into a mecha chair, Hippo Hero. I'm glad so good that it writes out the description for these. The program that I'm using, I'll have to send them an email and say, hey, you've got a bit of a glitch. And then just scrolling down as quickly as I can to Maxi Conman, which is very related to this topic with the ARS. I'm not sure what that is or where that's from, but I really appreciate the ARS 50. It says, please stop talking about Fallout like it's only Todd Howard's idea. Nobody's talking about Brian Fargo and Tim Kaine. Yeah, absolutely. Originally, the series was Obsidian. Interplay.
Interplay, yeah.
Right.
Well, eventually they turned Obsidian and they splintered, but yes.
And they
ARS
become in exile, didn't they?
Argentinian peso. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So eventually it was In Exile. You're absolutely right. And In Exile have made overtures about doing they want to do another, also an Xbox studio, another Fallout. But we'll jump over to Garuda. What are you thinking of the show? Where you're at? Like, you're a big Fallout fan. Have you played 76 on the PC? Apparently, it's beautiful over there.
Ooh, everything's beautiful over here. I'm not going to lie, except for the ugly thing itself. Have a look at the horrific looking thing. But oh man, just get the tomatoes. That ugly thing. Oh, I don't know where my camera is, bro. That ugly thing. Look.
Oh my god.
Man. It's an abomination, isn't it? Hey, like I had no choice. Like I had no choice. Yeah, look at it.
Somebody take away the sound effects from Riskit.
Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, look, you can get the tomatoes and the tomatoes and the potatoes ready to throw at me, but just please be nice. I'm going to explain myself. I'm going to preface my opinion on
here
the
we go.
show.
Hey,
Just
meet
with
this man.
I don't want to be
Meet
that
this
guy
man.
every time. No. Hold on. I'm going to explain myself first. I'm not just going to come in full slanderously. Like, I have
Here we
only
go.
played Fallout. I've loaded up Fallout 4 with a heap of mods, tinkered around a little bit, had a laugh, and then that's the only Fallout I've ever played ever. Okay, so that much needs to be known before I give my opinion on the show. So
Oh, this is
I'm
gonna
not
go
really a Fallout fan. Just the whole, I think the reason why I've never played it, I'm not saying it's not a good game because I love, Oblivion, Skyrim, Starfield. I love other Bethesda games, but I think maybe the setting has never just appealed to me that much. I don't know why. I wish it did, but it just hasn't appealed to me. Okay. So, yeah, you guys are going to disagree with what I got to say. Anyway, and the other thing is that I don't watch a lot of TV. A lot of the time when I watch TV or movies, I think, well, I could be playing games. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, let me do it. So that's why I don't watch a lot of TV. It's very rare that I do watch anything. But for the purposes of the show today, and also the amazing and glowing reviews from everyone, I went and watched or started to watch Fallout yesterday. And I'll be honest, look, the first 5 minutes, amazing. I love the way they set it up. I'm not trying to spoil anything, but it's about essentially the fallout after a nuclear event, and that was really cool. But as soon as they got to the vault, I was just shaking my head. It wasn't for me. I don't get the strange, cringy humor, like the weird incest part and stuff. It was just not hitting for me, like personally. And I know it's a me thing, and that's why I prefaced it with what I did. No, hold your horses, son.
But I bet you love The Last of Us, huh?
I hated it. I can't stand
That's a
The Last
good
of Us. There's
boy.
nothing about The Last of Us that appeals to me either. And I know I'm not trying to be combative. I'm just trying to be honest and
Yeah, you
explain
are.
myself why. I'm not trying to
just
be.
kidding.
Sorry, Blue. I'm really not.
kidding.
I'm really not.
Holly-
I want to
Holly
like
typing
it.
up a
I got
strongly
20.
worded
I got
email
20
right
minutes
now.
into. I got 20 minutes into to Fallout, the first episode, and when it got to I have this one big no with TV shows. If they do it, I struggle to watch another second, and that's when they add what I feel is an awkward, cringy, and unnecessary sex scene. I just don't like that in my movies, to be honest, or shows. And when it got to that, when I was already not feeling it, I was just like, off.
Yeah, but that
And
scene
I couldn't pick
absolutely
it back
called
up.
for it, though. It was
It
absolutely
didn't for me, though.
They're
It
like,
was so
yeah, they're
bizarre. It
people
was
But you
bizarre
didn't
to me.
finish
Like,
the episode.
They're stuck in a
Yeah.
I
vault who
couldn't.
don't
I
quite
couldn't,
understand
Holly.
how.
I was starting to pick up my phone, and I was like, "Oh, this is not a good sign." I was not feeling. And look, I fully acknowledge that it's a me thing. That's why I prefaced it
I'm
the way
just
I did.
saying, it's like I agree with you when it doesn't advance the story, it's unnecessary. But this one actually, I felt like lent to the story. That's my only
Yeah,
point. Is that if you go
Yeah,
back,
you've seen it,
right?
so
You can, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take your
That's
word
it.
for that because you've seen it and things like that. But I guess if I was, I knew someone was going to call me the, yeah. Let's sorry, screw you, Riskit. Yeah, if I was really feeling it up until that point, I could probably forgive it. But I just wasn't. I was just like, "Ugh, brother, ugh." The whole thing for me personally, it just wasn't hitting for me. But again, I don't watch much TV. And that's a me thing. I don't get the lore. I don't understand Fallout whatsoever. And I really want to. Does it get better after that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
Much.
it was great then already.
Is there any
any
more
Definitely
weird
story-
things like that? Like
Any
I don't.
story
I just
like has like a boom at first to kind of hook you a little
Mm.
bit, which it sounds like it did.
oh,
And then
really
it has
did. I
to
was
set
like,
a
wow.
stage, right? Like literally
Yeah.
every story is like that, right? Like there's something
Yeah,
to
for
hook
sure.
you, but then you have to get other things to go to create the story that gets moving and stuff, right? So I really feel
I
like
just a
Yeah.
few times I kind of cringed in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? And that's everybody has different senses of humor and things like that. And hey, I'm the biggest idiot when it comes to humor. So I thought maybe that stuff would hit with me, but a couple of things I was just like, for maybe someone I guess who hasn't had much to do with the Fallout franchise whatsoever, it was a bit like, what is going on here? I guess if I had that sort of past experience with the franchise and I played the games, that I might get it a little bit better. But yeah,
but you're not meant to either. Like the show is made it had to
Yeah.
be made, right? For any
Yeah.
like people to watch. So I think if you just like fast forward through that 35
Mm.
seconds or whatever it
Mm.
was, and then get
Yeah, I
to
didn't give
that.
it a chance.
And once she
Yeah.
gets out of the vault, then I think
Mhm.
you might have a different perspective. Maybe.
All
Maybe
right.
not.
Never.
I-
I
I'm
would just
gonna
say
try
this:
to give it
never
another
give
chance,
up
but-
that soon on a show, though, Garuda.
I
Come
know,
on.
but that's why I fully acknowledged at the beginning that it is a me thing. I very rarely watch much TV, and that's it is a me thing. And but I get. Look, I want to say I don't want to be too much of a downer because I really love the fact that we are actually starting to get consistently TV shows, video game TV show adaptations that are well done. The budget's there, the scope's there, everything's there. They're mostly adhering to the source material. The fans are loving it. It's bringing new fans to the franchise who aren't necessarily gamers. I love all that because when I was a kid, I remember growing up, video game adaptations to
Wait, hang on a
movies
minute.
and vice
Wait a minute.
versa were shocking. Yo,
Wait a minute. Let's go back a sec. You just
Mhm.
said you hated the damn thing, but now you're saying it's good, it's quality, it's
No.
a
I'm
great.
saying I'm happy that everybody is enjoying this. I know that I'm in the very vast minority here. All right. I mean, I'm talking generally speaking, because you guys know this. Not so long ago, whenever we got a video game TV adaptation, it was usually terrible, and vice versa.
Well, I
If
think
we
that's
got
it.
licensed video
It's-
games, they were shocking too. But now it's all come full circle, and we're getting great licensed video games and vice versa with TV shows. So that's fantastic. It is a me thing. I fully get that. So
I think that's the big thing, though, right now, though. We're learning that these video game adaptations do better if it's told in a TV format versus a movie. It's the movies that have been really,
Definitely.
really horrible. The TV
Exactly.
shows have given the opportunity for them to kind of, build upon a narrative and flesh out, characters for people. Because that's what you need for the casual audience to watch.
Right, because
they need
Fallout's a
characters that
40-hour
can-
game. To try and compress
Right.
that into 90 minutes, it's just you're not going to do a lot of things justice. That's
Yeah.
just the way it is, and it sounds like
And it's not
as
really
far as
following something specific
Yeah.
to a particular storyline. Like they're probably borrowing bits in here of things, but it's not like The Last of Us is specifically following a narrative that you can follow from the game. Where this one is kind of like, I won't say choose your own adventure, but it's literally like, hey, we don't have to adhere to try to do something that the fan is going to be like, well, when I played it, I didn't have that feeling. So
I feel like I
Yeah.
agree with you on that, and I think that works for like certain stories, right? For instance, like you say, The Last of Us or Fallout, for instance. I think Halo, though, for instance, would lend itself very well to like big screen adaptation for that, and because you don't fully need to go into the fleshing that out the way they do. And I look at other movies where they say, well, you won't have the time. Well, then I look at stuff like Marvel and look at how much they put into those movies, 2 hours plus, that they gave us so much with all these different characters. I think it can be done. It's just that you need the proper people to write for it to fully flesh that out. Also, I don't think Halo would fit. I think it would fit better in a large format to give us the best of it, visual effects and et cetera, because you continuously, as Alvin pointed out in the chat, something like Halo, for instance, would cost hundreds of millions to properly do it justice with the CGI and things like that. When you could do that on a big screen, you can do that all in one go and probably recoup all of that.
yeah, but like kind of your example of Marvel, though, Marvel did kind of benefit by making at least in the first few phases of the MCU, of making their movies kind of all interconnected. So it seemed like you were watching this long overarching arc, even though it's 2-hour movies or whatnot. There's this long overarching arc of interconnected stories and characters that basically, when you get to your end games with the Avengers and stuff, you have this like fan base that's been, part of this for the last 15 movies, right? Or 17, 18, however many it was before you got to Endgame. So it's kind of like, it's the kind of the same thing, but it's just, they just did it in 2-hour movies where like, yeah, Halo probably could have done well for big screen, especially in terms of the special effects stuff. But I think for the casual, right, outside of us who played Halo, like what would have enticed the casual person to see a Halo trailer and be like, well, what's that about? I know nothing about who that is. So like maybe if they build something with the show and then later they're like, hey, we're going to develop a big movie for it, then you got an audience who maybe saw the show who can be like, oh yeah, I watched this on Paramount. Now I'm willing to go see this big blockbuster movie that hits the big screen if they do something like that further down the road. But I'm just curious as to like if they could have just did that off the bat, if people would have been like, if only the fans would have showed up and nobody else, and they'd be like, oh man, That was a bomb. You know, you couldn't bring in the casual sci-fi fan to go check out Halo, sorry.
I was like Halo. No, but I mean, I get what you're saying on that for sure. And you're right. They do have interconnectivity for the Marvel movies to help with that. Though you look at things like Infinity War and, you know, it's follow-up, and you kind of see like, damn, they did a lot within that time frame. Again, though, you're right. There's still, we had those stories already at that point, so we were invested in those characters. I mean, I was already invested because I read those characters years well before that, but I get that. But I would say Halo is also one of those properties that's so big, everybody, not everybody, but lots of people, even casuals, know it. Hell, my sister who doesn't play games know Halo. She's like, oh, Halo, that's Master Chief. So she knows him, you know what I mean? So I do get your point, though. Overall, the masses wouldn't know. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And I mean, even talking to someone at my workplace who's, I think the dude's like, he does not play games. He's just an old school guy. He's about 50 something. And he said to me the other day, last game I played was Halo. I'm like, so even, you know, someone who's not a gamer at all picked up a game, Halo's recognizable. But doing what you were saying, I think going back to what Donte was saying there is, you know, when you look at doing a TV series and then following that up with a big blockbuster movie as like sort of the finish to the series or as a supplementary to the series, I think that would be a really good way to go for studios. And you've already got the hype there. You know, then you're bringing people to the cinemas to watch the final sort of, you know, the last hurrah. I think that's a great idea. I don't know why more studios don't do it. We're going to go to Kay because I don't think we've got his thoughts on, you've seen only episode 1. I think you were saying how you feel about it so far. Like, where are you at? Do you think it's, and just going quickly back to what Garuda was saying early in the piece, you really do got to stick with it past, I think, episode 2, like in the back end of episode 2 is where it really picks up. And the vault stuff, it is story building. This is story and character building. And so you've got to spend that time doing that, especially in a series.
I'm going to go back, Risk. I will go back and try again.
You definitely do it.
I will go back and try again. I just hope that I don't feel the way I felt in that opening 15 minutes too many more times.
Why are you saying it like you got violated?
Yeah, it was like really, for me, it was.
Why are you
like,
saying it like that?
Brother. I had a few of those moments. I was like, oh man, can we just not? Like, I don't know. That's subjective.
Garuda, embrace the sex, brother. Embrace it.
No,
today
if
we
I
learned
want to do that, I'll go and do that.
I'll
go and do that.
Right.
Don't put it in my.
Look at him; he's already turned off.
I feel honestly,
like
I was by myself.
scenes.
This is a weird. It's like this. Like I was by myself, which it makes it a little bit easier. But like when I saw that happen, and I almost just like disappeared into my chair, and I know it's a me thing. I was like, bruh, please don't do this to me. Like, and the dude's just standing there like.
Garuda, you prude, you.
No. Bro, hold up, bro. I'm 38 and my son's 23.
Last week you talked about cakes, and now this is what we're here. We're learning. Oh boy, bro.
Hey, that was from him. I wasn't giving him no cakes. Hey.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about the cakes.
He was giving.
Oh, the cakes
no
have
cakes.
returned.
Hold on,
no cakes and definitely no pies.
No, wait. What was he doing? Hold on, y'all heard?
No. Let's not do that. Let's not.
No, I'm trying not to do that. You brought it up, Kate.
Hey, man.
Don't say you don't want to hear the story when you brought it up.
You're on both sides of the spectrum at this point, sir. Both sides of the spectrum. What can I say?
I don't want none of his cakes. And none of his pies.
We're moving forward. We're moving forward.
Man.
Moving forward.
I'll quickly give you my take. I will tell you why I've only seen one episode. Right. So I am always on a quest to find something that I can watch with my lady. And more often than not, we find something cool, we'll binge it, or we'll watch it, a week at a time. I secretly wanted her not to like this show because she's not a gamer at all. But of course, she loves this show, so now I must watch it with her. And we've had a busy week, so it's hard. I can't watch it without her because then later on I'm in the doghouse. You know what
a terrible mistake.
Exactly,
I made a huge mistake.
Okay. But let me tell you this. So the mark of a good show is when a person who has no affinity to the IP at all is into it. So my wife is my barometer, right? She's totally into it. Okay, so real quick. Right, I've listened to you folks talk about it and the comparison with The Last of Us. I dug The Last of Us. I think The Last of Us was one of the up until, well, I wouldn't say up until now, but it's one of the recent good adaptations of a show that we've had. Before that, obviously, it was crap, as you know. I will defend Halo just a smidge though, because why I feel that's a little. I get the comparison
because
between.
you were in it.
Stop it! I get the comparison.
Seriously,
let me speak, man. I get the comparison between the idea that video game adaptation, right? And I get that, but you all know who Master Chief is. You know the fall of Reach. You know every piece of that puzzle. So for them to hit it on the head and make everyone happy is a very tall order, right? These guys, and actually it's because the source material they chose was right for that. Who's the protagonist? There is no protagonist. The protagonist is you. So they can literally fill that world with whoever they want as long as they hit the same beats of the world and you're happy. If there was a protagonist there and they've had many adventures, then it becomes more difficult because Blue would know every piece of that story because she's such a fan. And if you miss even the slightest bit, you've broken people's hearts, right? It's a different kind of a situation, right? Same thing with The Last of Us. It is beat for beat for beat the character you know. So what did they do? They basically took the guy who wrote the story and went, here, adapt it to the screen, right? It's easier to do when you have specifically a line you must walk, right? Halo didn't do it as well. I agree. I completely agree. I would say though, like the mark of for us gamers, right? The way you can tell that the story was done correctly is right after the show is done, you want to play the game, right? Right after Arcane was done, I'm like, I got to go find me a campaign. I'm on Twitter like, come on, guys, give me something to play, right? Right after Cyberpunk Edge Runners, I had to go re-roll Cyberpunk again, right? Halo didn't do that to me until the last episode of season 2. So I say all that to say, finish season 2. You'll get to a place where you'll go, okay, this is where they should have started, I think. But that's neither here nor there, right? So I do think that the comparison is apt, but only in a specific way because we are gamers. But everyone should watch season 2, I think. Anyway.
Absolutely agree.
About the show. Yes, and it is on them. It's smoke on them that you have to get to the end of season 2 before you want to pick up that controller. At the end of season 2, I was like, okay, now I want to go pick up that controller. And I've played the Master Chief Collection probably more than everybody on the stage. I have played it like hundreds of hours, the story through and through and through and through. And it was great. I know it so well. I've read all the books. I'm a big Halo fan, right? It took me to end of season 2 for me to go, okay, now you've given me my Halo. But that's a side thing. Fallout. I, like Garuda, haven't been the biggest Fallout fan. Now, the difference is I've played all the Fallouts, including the old Fallouts, the Get It on GOG Fallouts. I've played them all. I've never been, because they're always brown and morose, and they always, even Fallout 4 was very, very dreary and same color palettes, and it kind of didn't. I've played through them and I've enjoyed them, but I've never thought of them as this narrative of amazing proportion. So that's why I'm so stunned at how much I dig this show so far. I think they've threaded the needle perfectly. They've even counteracted the brownness by making it colorful compared to the game, because the game is not colorful. The game is brown, a lot, especially Fallout 4.
I will say the production values, they've really made it.
Yeah.
Pop off the screen where the game didn't do that. Yeah,
exactly. A lot of people say we don't want to live in that morose world where everything is gray and dingy and broken and sad because there are dead bodies everywhere. This has that, but it's also has that humor and that interest in there, right? So I give it a lot of credit in that. I will say, like, the characters they've chosen, the actors they've chosen. Aaron Moulton, I think his name is. As soon as I saw him, I was like, yep, that is Jonathan Major 2.0. Powerful character. I am so happy he's getting a chance to shine. I've seen him in other things too. Maximus, for those who don't know his real name. Amazing character. Such strong work he does on that screen. I am happy to see him doing that. My wife goes, is that like Denzel Washington's son or something? Like, he really jumps off the page. He did a great. Yeah, he really, he He
Gotta get
put it
the
out there. And
She's talking about like
appreciate it.
in his acting prowess.
And his
that
out
what you
acting
mean?
chops.
Did she
Yes,
see his
yeah,
lip
and his
quiver
acting
and
chops.
thought like, "Oh, that's Denzel's son right there."
you know, yes, but he deserves a lot of credit, right? As you were saying, Umbra, what do you call it? Ella, amazing actress. She does such a great job. I really, really, I will wait and I will see what happens. I'm holding out hope. Again, only episode 1. For me, still to this day, Arcane is probably my favorite adaptation ever. And if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, it's 100% compared to everybody else. Like nothing even comes close. I think.
What would you compare to the Cyberpunk then to that? 'Cause Cyberpunk was spectacular.
Cyberpunk is good. Cyberpunk is really good. Like Cyberpunk is so good that it got the story that ended up being a cautionary tale that was the game. It gave people another chance, right? If it wasn't for Edge Runners, people probably would not have given that game another chance. I think it was really good, but it's not on this level. I think Arcane is on a different level. I think so far Fallout looks to be on a different level. I really enjoyed The Last of Us. I look forward to seeing where they go because they have to now diverge a little bit. They diverged a little bit here and there in the story. They now will probably diverge even more in the story. So I'll see how that needle is thread. The reason why I say it's a little unfair to make a comparison is this, like you guys have already said, in this world, since there's no real protagonist, since there's no real story to follow except for the lore, they can go any way they want, and as long as they write it well, you'll be there because they're not following any storyline that you know or remember.
Agreed.
Way less pressure on them, right?
Way more freedom.
They have freedom to do whatever the heck they want.
Character that they have to stick to, like they have to stick to Master Chief, for instance.
Although that could also be their Achilles heel, right? If you don't get that story right, if you don't make it feel the way that you expect to feel in the game, it can easily go left. So I'm not saying that what they're doing is cheap. They threaded it quite well. I'm just saying it's a different muscle they're flexing. Long story short, I will say, it is awesome. I can't wait to see more of it, and it puts so much damn pressure on Gears for me because I love Gears as well. And now they're talking about Gears, the show. Yeah. I want to see what they do there because the bar is being lifted every time.
By the way, Kate, who has the rights to do the Gears shows? Amazon as well?
Netflix, actually. I thought it was Netflix. I thought I heard it was Netflix. Yeah,
I'm a little worried.
Yeah, I believe it is.
No, don't be worried. Arcane is the best game to show adaptation ever.
But live
followed closely by direct it. Like
exactly.
Directing
right?
Is everything. So if
you think about it, look at all the great adaptations. Most of them are Netflix's. Like most of them are. They really are. Netflix. This is great.
I would say Amazon is beating them right now. If you're taking like The Boys, and
how many of them? But The Boys isn't a game to TV adaptation, right? There is no The Boys game.
Is what I'm saying. It's a comic graphic novel, right? So it's still an adaptation.
Also, Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is if you go to those production levels, Amazon is the top of the top. You can see it.
I'm speaking specifically game that people know and love. To TV show / movie. Right now, Netflix holds the crown. Right?
They better not screw up that BioShock movie.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. Even The Witcher that people give short shrift to. The Witcher has kept people satiated in that world for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Like The Witcher, though. I'm being honest.
The Witcher was great. Like, if you know the lore and you spend time in it, it was very well done. It was very, very well done. I think that they all helped to lift those boats.
I think Henry Cavill was just so handsome it threw you off. That's what it was. He was just so handsome you just forgot. Like, you know what? You're handsome.
That's what it was. Yeah.
The Witcher was great. The Witcher was like really not true to that. The Witcher wasn't true to the game. The Witcher was completely true to the
books.
The short story books that that written. So they were bang on.
Isn't that one of the reasons why Henry is upset with them because they weren't really being completely true to the books?
They started diverging.
Yeah, they didn't. They weren't caring as much about the source material, which is one of the reasons why they were at odds.
Yep.
Yeah.
True.
Initially, they were. That was the talk was how closely they were sticking to the books and working with the author.
In the beginning, they were, and then eventually they started diverging, and he was out after that.
Yeah. As soon as they did that, he got out, which is credit to him because most actors would be like, "Oh, this is successful. I'm doing well, so stick with it, and usually to their detriment. But to your point, Kay, I 110% agree. But if you look at The Last of Us, that's a similar arc, I guess, to Halo. It was hard for them to diverge from the story, and there was kickback. But I feel like when they did that, they did it in a valuable way, with meaning. They added to the overall narrative. And I think that, Halo could have done that. It just wasn't being as respectful of the source material.
And let's be clear with Halo, and I feel like I'm the one defending Halo here for some damn reason. Let's be clear. Halo has been around. Halo has been around trying to get made before any of these stories were even a
Spielberg forever
a wrinkle in an eye.
To do it.
Like, yes, Halo has been brought to the stage going, we're making this in like the early aughts before even The Last of Us existed. Right. Yep. So that story has been kicked and kicked and kicked around Hollywood for years. So eventually they just got what they got. Right. Whereas by the time these other guys wanted to jump in, the waters were mature. Gamers were more mature. They were more discerning. They had certain demands. So you started the new projects with a higher bar versus Halo that'd been kicked around for red versus blue years. You know what I'm saying? Like
excuses to me, man.
So that's why I said some of the casting is a major thing too. Because Cloaked Onyx, thanks for coming by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I usually only see you on Twitter, but he says the Gears TV show without the video game voice actors will be shit. Now I don't agree with that necessarily. John DiMaggio, he talks for Marcus. Now I think a lot of the love we have for those characters are because of the voice actors, right? Like clearly DiMaggio and all those guys, that's who we've grown to love, and that's why so many people are afraid to go away from them. I think even not Epic, Coalition is probably a little afraid.
Sure.
But I still think just if you get the proper casting and they can do the voice gruff enough,
absolutely,
I think that'll work.
Absolutely. I mean, let's be clear here. The reason why while Fallout is now winning the crown is they put the man that is God among men, Walter Goggins, on screen. That man can do no wrong. Goggins it is spot. Oh man, he's so good. People need to go watch The Shield, the greatest show on ever on television, and that was Walter Goggins. So I'm there for it. So I gotta finish the show so I can go watch the second episode.
One of for sure. I still think Breaking Bad is the best show of all time on TV.
We can debate that. I'll give you a good debate on that. Sure.
I had Game of Thrones at a point until season 7 and 8, but
until they ran out of source material.
Yep.
Yeah.
We do got to move to the next. To your point, we do got to move to the next topic. But before we do, guys, please hit the like button, share us out. Go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. If you're in the US, if you're in Australia, it's 11 a.m. over in the East and 8 p.m. a.m. in the West Coast. Best Coast, don't even know what time it is where I am. That's what time zones do to you. So jumping on to the next topic, it is what's going on with these Activisions. Apparently, there's a huge drop coming for the Activision Blizzard games into Game Pass. I guess my question on this, and Holly, this sort of backs onto the conversation that you wanted to have, I think, about COD dropping a huge back compat onto Xbox as well. This sort of is all intertwined. And I guess my question is, a lot of the games don't have the issue that, we've seen Spyro get listed on the PC Microsoft store. A lot of these games don't have that issue of having to do the back compat work to bring them to Xbox. So what is going on? Holly, I know that you're excited that you heard that COD was getting that back compat drop. So I'll jump to you first. What do you think's going on? Do you think this is all licensing? Do you think it's technical in the background software compatibility type stuff, which I don't see how it could be? Or what is it? What's going on? Where are these games? We supported this deal for such a long time, as they were, fighting it out in court, and really for no benefit of us, realistically so far. I mean, unless you didn't own Diablo 4, we really haven't gotten a whole lot out of this deal as gamers, as members, as customers within the brand. So this is a positive move, hearing this sort of happening. But what do you think's going on, Holly? And are you excited about the COD back compat dropping into Game Pass, if it is Game Pass, if that is indeed true?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna all come to Game Pass. That's kind of part of the deal, right? I'm excited for all of these old CODs particularly because there are a lot of not a lot, but there are some campaigns that I skipped just because the time in life or the games like coming out around then were better, I thought, or there were mixed reviews about, whatever. Or some of them did. Black Ops 4 didn't even have a campaign, right? So and that time I was really only playing COD mostly for campaigns. I didn't actually play the multiplayer all that much, and now it's quite the opposite. But I do really love the COD campaigns. I think they're always very interesting, pretty unique, short but fun experiences that are always pretty flawless. So I was looking forward to getting them brought to Game Pass so I could kind of go through the collection. What I would really love is for them to just do a like remastered collection based on the genre or the theme of the Call of Duty series, like the Black Ops set or the Infinite Warfare set, which is one game, but like to have these or the Modern Warfares, right, kind of put into one collection and release those. I'm not quite sure all of the background work that it takes to put these into Game Pass, but clearly we know that there is some work. Even Phil said at the closure of the deal, like, don't expect these games to just drop tomorrow. We have a lot of stuff on the background that we have to do. I think we're all slightly surprised that it's taking this long to see the fruits of that. I think it's probably a good idea that Diablo 4 was the first one that really came through on that, because they kind of missed that Q1 game that they were planning on having. So I feel like this fit the bill pretty well to kind of slide into that slot and also start the process of coming good on the Activision stuff that's coming. So I really don't know. I don't know if they're planning to do something related to an event. We're hearing rumors that the Activision stuff is going to be part of the FanFest announcement that they do this summer in June. So maybe it'll be just a hot drop like that. But I'm excited, and there's a lot of other games that I think eventually we'll see come out of this, but I don't think it's going to be all at once. I think they'll have a tap that they turn on with a slow drip, especially those older games. And like when we talked to Jason last year, Riskit, he was mentioning like a lot of the back compat work had been done already, and it's not that they wanted to stop, but there were significant licensing issues with some older games where those licenses had expired for the music or for certain assets with those games, and it was really difficult to go back and get that. So maybe that is part of the struggle that they're dealing with right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, absolutely could be have a lot to do with licensing issues and background stuff that we're just obviously not aware of. But yeah, I mean, again, Panda in the chat, shout out to her, absolute champion, good friend of the show. She said, be patient, and I feel that we have been. I feel like we've been as patient as we, at this point, there should at least be some sort of an announcement, at least a follow up to say, hey, this is what's going on. Kay's shaking his head, so I'll go to you next.
I disagree. I don't know. People forget how long this stuff takes to work, and I own modern Call of Duty games on Windows, specifically the Windows Store. Guess how many of them there are? 2. In the history of the games being out, 2 of them are available in the Windows Store. Right? Porting to the Windows Store is a beast in and of itself. So 2 things I will say, and this, I won't be long-winded. One, when Bethesda dropped, right, when they had those games, those were always on the Windows Store. So all you do is package them up and drop them. And when they did that, you've heard them even say that was a mistake. They needed to dole them out because a lot of them got lost in the shuffle. People forget that all of them dropped there. So it's something that they should keep and drip out slowly, to keep all those names of those games in the zeitgeist. Secondly, with only 2 available in the Windows Store, you have a lot of work to fill in the back compat. And that's just COD, right? Not to talk about Spyro that just got announced, not to talk about all these other things that are announced. The remaster remake of Tony Hawk Pro Skater, which I loved so much. There's so many games that potentially could drop here, and they have no like historical evidence on the fundamental store that they keep. Like that's the backbone of the window of Game Pass, right? It's not Steam where they all seem to live, and even Steam they are in and out of, right? This will take some time, and even when it's done, they will drip feed it out because they need to keep people interested. Instead of one day drop 50 games on you, you're not seeing that like you did with Bethesda because they themselves have said it was a mistake.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, no, it's I don't expect to see it dropping like that. You know, I don't think so.
But the pause here is again like, let's talk about that. Like as a company, you know, you want to come out and at least speak to you know, I mean, he said stuff, hey, it's going to take time, but like coming out and say, look, we've got a lineup of games that we want to start dropping from this point. You know what I mean? And I hope we see that at the June showcase, and from all the rumors swirling, we are going to see that at the June showcase, but it's been just quite some time with too much.
How long is quite some time?
Okay.
When did this deal start?
6 to 7 months.
What are they gonna do with BattleNet, do you think?
That's the funny thing, right? I was actually talking to Everborn about that, and people are strong with the idea of, hey, they should make BattleNet the new focus. Have you ever spoken to anyone that actually actively uses BattleNet? They don't like it that much.
Yeah.
Like people don't like people who use it. There you go. People who use it don't like it, but people on the outside go, yeah, BattleNet must be great. That's not what's happening. There's a lot of consolidation happening, right?
It's shit. And updates never work properly. It tells you something needs to be updated and it doesn't, and then you got to restart BattleNet and all this. It's a mess.
There you go, right? Like all of them have been crap for a long time. The only one that's the least crap and we've just lived with forever is Steam. And it was crap for a long time too. It just happened to be the only game in town for long enough that people got eventually used to it, right? I say, give them some patience. Let them do what they need to do. And it's not even a question of, oh, we're going to quickly port it to the store so you can have it. It's how will it be doled out to you? What store will it be available on? Like, you know, there's a lot of logistics to be worked out in addition to the technical porting that needs to be done, which also takes like 6 months or something, right? So I'm just saying, like, as long as there are games coming to that platform in one shape or form, you know, people need to stop being greedy in this instance. It will come, and when it does, you will enjoy it. But if it just kind of drop it on you, right, and they don't account for the back compat on the console, and they don't account for maybe some porting woes here and there, its first impression will be whoa, and y'all are going to be throwing virtual tomatoes at them, right? They can't win in this instance, so they zip the lip and they wait until the next time they have a chance to speak to the full public, right? This is an IP that demands that attention, right? It needs to be on the biggest stage. So why talk about it in a blog post? Why tell Riskit, you know, in between one of their little direct kind of shows? No, wait until they're big E3 like to drop it on you, and even then expect maybe 1 or 2. You know.
Yeah.
Look, and Holly, real quick, like you, I love the campaigns. I really do. I hope one day they get like a what do you call it, an interface where all the stories, kind of like Master Chief Collection style.
Yeah,
I would play the hell out of those things, man. I'm not a
saying.
multiplayer guy, but the campaigns, excellent. Yes, please.
It's due for a long time too, because there's a lot of COD there, and they're really you know, they've overlooked the fact that there's so many people that do just really like the campaigns.
I was advocating for separate the campaigns from the multiplayer.
Yes.
I'll pay you
$30
or whatever every single
time
time it comes out. You know,
If that were the case, I would have actually played most of these. And as it stands, I haven't played. You know, because I don't want to go, okay, I'm going to pay this, you know, full price in our country, like $110 for a 6-hour campaign. Although I really want to play it and I really enjoy those, I'm not going to do that. Separate them. Give me the choice of buying the part that I want to play, because I'm not going to touch the multiplayer. You know, and that's what I'm waiting for. And Kay, I acknowledge all the issues that they have with the Windows Store, and I guess I didn't really know how bad it was until I moved across to PC. It is
Yeah.
shocking. It's shocking. Like, I wanted to stay in the Xbox ecosystem when I moved across to PC. I had no intention of really using Steam much, but
You're seeing the best
lo and
part
behold,
of it. It used to be worse.
Yeah, lo and behold, every time I go to look for a game, it's not on the Windows Store. I've got to go
No.
to Steam and buy it. I've got no choice, right? And
Yep.
it's terrible. Or the prices are all messed up, and you have to pay 4 times as much on the Windows Store. It's shocking, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to really cut them any slack for that. It's been that way for years. They've had so much time to get that right.
Hey, Riskit,
Okay,
what happened to our
making us wait
UI
even more.
here? What happened to the UI interface? Why you trying to hide a brother behind these characters? Is that what you're trying to do?
Oh, yeah.
Huh? You
Well, we don't know what you
poor
look
It
like.
Donte,
wouldn't
you
matter
just
if your
erased-
camera's on, but it's not, so it doesn't really matter. You know?
Hey,
You just
Hey,
erased
hey,
poor
hey.
Donte. What happened to Dante?
So yeah, like
For some reason, it's just not shooting. It's not shooting through. The video's not coming through, but the camera's on.
Riskit did something.
Mm.
I can see him fiddling on
yeah.
the camera like, what did I do?
I didn't do anything. I
don't
did nothing. I put baby in the corner, but that's what happened.
You shifted the
Put
UI. because
Umbra in the
video.
corner.
But I was going to say, speaking of the whole PC situation, I'm not a fan of how you have to try to go through the Windows game bar to talk with people on Xbox. I did
Yeah, it's
that.
bullshit.
It's trash,
mess.
right?
It's a
Yeah,
mess.
I couldn't hear
It's an absolute
anything,
mess.
and all of us was
Yep.
botting and just interference. It was annoying as hell. They need to fix
It's
that.
a
But I
mess.
did see that they had this new update going that's going to be going live soon, relatively soon.
I have it now.
You got it already? Oh, you're insider.
Yeah, I got it like yesterday or 2 days ago. I checked it. It was
Hey,
there.
Santi is an insider, confirmed. Run with that.
Yeah, I remember when you leaked that Starfield controller, bro.
Hey now. We moved on quickly from that.
That's a
Please,
sensitive spot
no.
right there.
Don't do that.
It happened, bro. You can't hide from
Don't
that
do
shit,
that.
bro. You did it.
But no,
That's on
I did see that, and they're also talking about adding that for the internet, right? So we'll have it actually through the browser.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
should you think that'll help a lot as far as that goes? I know this is off topic, but
No, I sincerely think it will. You guys who are new to the PC game are seeing what we have been stressing about for a while now. They're actually actively doing the work to change it now. So you guys are hopefully only have to deal with this crap for a short amount of time until they change it up. We've been dealing with it for years, and they didn't
But it's
care
also
then.
why
Now they actually
It's
care.
also why I can't cut them much slack, though, Kay, because they know it's been like that for years. And I don't.
Look at Riskit
And the
falling
other thing
asleep.
is that sort of ties into this whole thing is that
We
by
talking
the
about
time
PC
Hellblade
again?
2 releases,
Mhm.
sorry, mate. Yeah, by the
Go
time Hellblade 2 releases, it's going to be 8 months between first-party titles for Xbox. So how about you just start giving us something, man? Give us something,
Agreed.
even if it's it's going to be 8 months. 8 months between their first-party games. They have a wealth of games that are on the Windows Store, and the ones that they can get out should be out. To satiate the fan base who's been through, let's face it, they've been through hell over the last few months and back end of the year into the start of this year. They need to be giving us something. It's like people, you've got to wind the clock back. Forza Motorsport, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, was the last first-party Xbox game that released at the end of October or something, and then you're going to be the end of May by the time your next one comes, bro. They need content for Xbox.
Well, that's what I mean. We're talking about easy wins here. There are some easy wins they can drop because not every game requires licensing deals. Not every game requires them to do so much work. There are games that are already there on the PC store, games that are already there on the console. So why don't we just drop in Spyro, for instance, as it brought up on the screen? Like Spyro's there on the PC store, Spyro's there, and just drop it into Game Pass. Like just little.
We don't need this at a showcase. It's old content. Just announce it on Twitter. Announce it on some blog post. Tell us the old games are coming. If they dare take up any of my showcase, telling me that Spyro and Crash Bandicoot are coming to Game Pass, I tell you what, man, it's on. It is.
I
on.
kind of
Bro,
get
we don't
I
need
kind of
that.
get his
We don't
point on
need
that. To be fair, I do
We don't
kind of
need
get
that,
that
bro.
point.
We do
But
so
unless it
Spyro
was
is
like
not on the PC
Yeah.
store though. Spyro is not. I'm looking right now.
They might have
Spyro is
removed
not
it.
on the PC store.
man.
they may have removed it, but I would say this: I can kind of I definitely get Garuda's point on that. I don't want that wasted for that either.
No way.
Though they could do it and say, "Hey, we're updating these titles." Also, then that would make it more worthwhile to see. Like, oh, you're getting updates to these as far as visuals and performance. That okay, cool. That would make some sense.
The
But
likelihood of that is very low.
well, but
They're taking a
Xbox, I
long
wouldn't
time
say
with
that
this stuff, man.
necessarily. With Xbox, I wouldn't say that, but it wouldn't be this soon either. To be fair, right? But I would say though, as far as what I would love, we were talking in the chat. Gray made a great point. He said he would love like the Guitar Hero series for them to make all those games. Now that's licensing, of course, that's going to cost.
Oh yeah.
But because I know they had those issues even with, for instance, Rock Band, EA had. But so there's licensing issues that will cost that. But I would absolutely love if they could move those games, those songs forward into one big another MCC style package, like you pointed out, Kay, and have it where we can. Yeah, that would be great. Now the peripherals are the issue here. Now they do have a new gen guitar that I don't know if you all saw it, but it's like $150 something that they have. But then,
bro, I have all my guitars in my garage right now. I got the drums, I got the electric, I got the whole situation, bro. I still play it on the weekends with friends. You know,
I play it with a family, Rock Band. Me and my family.
Right.
Actually, this past weekend we played it. Rock Band too.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. But so I definitely would love for them to go to the well as far as those games go. But I do agree with Garuda. Don't waste time just showing us that if in fact you're not adding anything relatively new to it. I would say.
We already know it's coming. You don't have to tell us. Just announce it as you would anything else. Just a little video or something like that. This is not going to be a big megaton thing at an E3 style event. No way, man. Sorry, I can't.
I agree. Unless you're doing an MCC style compilation,
right? If you're going to do what Kay Asante said, where they're all going to be in one launcher, they're all going to be linked together. It's an MCC style. That's noteworthy, but still. 5 minutes, man. Don't no more.
So Spyro, I was mistaken. It is now on the PC store, but guess when it came on the PC store? Literally yesterday. Yesterday. Right?
Okay,
it was not on the PC store. So
I'm gonna put the gloves on for the console guys right now, right?
That's part of the
okay, that's a PC, that's a PC side problem.
Yeah.
Right? Why don't we just go, okay, let's not have our console guys as second-class citizens for now. We can't have these games yet on PC, but they're all on the Xbox store right now. Let's drop them all on Xbox on the console.
I would agree with that as well. But I mean, they're also this did drop in yesterday, and this sort of part of what I was sort of getting at is like, if they've done this, it's sort of leaked out that it's on the store. So why aren't they on Twitter blasting it like, hey, in the next couple of days or end of the week or in the next Game Pass run, this is coming in? Like they need these little W's to amount to a big W, and we hit that June showcase. And look, I think they're having some W's at the moment, especially with Hellblade and all these things. But it just really helps the perception, bring everyone back on track. And there's something that I was going to say, at the outset of the show. Working with technical stuff, whatever, it didn't seem like there was a spot to fit it in. I can feel the Xbox community once again becoming more positive just with the launch. And why is that? It's because they're bringing a game. That's literally all they have to do. Just bring the games. Be they the old games.
8 months, no game, man. Come on.
Yeah, as they, be they the old games that they've picked up from Activision, or they've got a new game coming out. This is really all we need is just bring us the games. You're going to make gamers happy. That's what you need to do. Donte, got to you because we haven't. You dropped out, unfortunately, because you have some camera issues. But now you're back.
I'm back.
So, what do you think? Like, what's going on in the background here? Do you think we're seeing licensing issues? What's the reason sort of for the apparent drip feed? I mean, there's a way to drip feed these, and I think this has been a bit slow. Like, here's one game every 8 months. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think it's the way to do it is to maybe a couple of games a month, feeding them into Game Pass, making the gamers happy. Always giving us that content, the reason to be on Game Pass.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If it is licensing, then okay, cool. It'd be cool if they could say something, but I don't think they will. A part of me wonders if it's going to be like, they want something for their show. So basically for their showcase in June, they basically want to come out and be able to say like, okay, and by the way, like here's a large chunk of these games from Activision Blizzard that are also going to be available day one within Game Pass, and like you can go grab it now or something to that effect. That's a part of me thinks, outside of whatever other games they have that they're going to show at their showcase. I'm hoping that they hurry up and do it though, because like me personally, like I want to play what's the one, is it Infinite Warfare? Is that the one with Kit Harington? Yeah, because like I've been really,
it's actually the only one in the app in the Windows Store. Infinite Warfare.
Okay. That's the one I really want to play, and I've been legit like waiting for it to drop in there for me to kind of experience it, because I keep hearing like that campaign is actually pretty good. So like
It is.
I'm
It's decent.
hoping, yeah, I'm hoping that they hurry up and get to it. But I don't know. Like you would think that if you own the IPs now, how's there a licensing thing? But maybe it's an issue. Maybe it's something that's a combination of getting things ready from a technical standpoint and also being able to say, boom, here's this large release, go grab it right now, and then they can have it for like when they finally go big in their June showcase.
On that, whether or not they own the license for the actual game, like there's licensing within those games as well sometimes that do cause a problem. I mean, as Holly said before, and I think you were there, Donte. We were talking to Jason Ronald earlier in the year. He's saying that has sometimes been a problem. Like we've got the license for the game, and that's not an issue, but there's some obscure asset within the game, and we can't track down the owner, or they're not willing to give the license, or
crazy 80s music that they used at the time that was cool, but now you can't get the license renewed for it.
That makes sense.
That
right?
happens.
That's understandable. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it possibly, it could be licensing issues. But sorry to jump in. Back to you.
Oh no, but I mean that pretty much sums it up. Like I'm waiting. I'm making assumptions at this point doesn't serve us as fans. Obviously, we want to be able to see like some type of announcement. Like you basically went through pretty much hell and back to try to acquire this particular publisher, so that way you can get more content for Game Pass. So we want to basically see like, hey, make that happen. I think if you don't have something big that is announced to come around their June showcase, then you fumbled the ball way more than you should have at this point. Even if it's more transparency as like, these are the games that we can currently release to either Game Pass versus, the ones that we can't for whatever those particular reasons are. But you got to be somewhat transparent, because otherwise it's kind of like, all right, so what was the point of that large expenditure and getting dragged back and forth through the courts and stuff to basically acquire Activision if you weren't getting more stuff to put into your service platform? So
exactly. I mean, what is the point if that's why would you have a huge publisher like this and not feed your greatest asset, which is obviously always going to be Game Pass. Look, I definitely do want to wrap it up for the show. I can see Holly's probably struggling with that headache over there, so apologies for keeping you here.
Sorry,
so first of all, I just want to thank the chat. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Guys have stuck around. Guys that have stuck with us from the day one. I'm leveling up the show. I'll be adding more and more stuff to the show. And Kay, thanks for coming through. I really appreciate it. I know that it's taking time away from the missus and the family, so I really appreciate you coming through. Just let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to in the next, the coming weeks, where your show is, and all of that will be able to be found down in the description after the show. Kay, take it away.
Oh no, I appreciate you having me on. I'm usually in the chat fighting and being slanderous. I get to be slanderous on the show. Hilarious. I love listening to you guys on a Friday night. Thank you so much for having me. I will be having ThatBlueNumber and the Master of Coin, which cheap Witcher reference, tomorrow on the show. I want to hear more about the project that he is doing and getting excited about that. So catch us on GCP tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the morning. We should be having fun there. Of course, on Monday nights, myself and the Latino Heat, as he calls himself, the John Wolf and I, we talk PC gaming and things. Yes, I know, put some people to sleep. But when these things are really kicking your butt, as far as all these dumb apps that you deal with, you come talk to us and we'll tell you what other apps to use that'll make your experience a little bit better. And that's on Monday nights at 7 Eastern Standard Time. I actually look forward to having some of you guys on. I'm gonna be reaching out to you guys because it's great chatting with you. Great getting to chat with you guys in virtual real time. So thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming through. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Garuda and Shrewd, another fantastic show. Thanks for coming through, man. Let people know where they can find you. We'll be up to again down in the description, guys. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you for having me once again. I'm sort of a unofficial or official, just a bit part sort of member of the team now. But
Yeah,
so
official.
thanks again, guys. It's always fantastic. I'm not trying, everyone, to be the villain of the show. Okay, I know it seems that way, but I'm not Fonz Jr. All right, everybody
Good,
call me
bro.
Fonz
Oh,
Jr.
You're,
from
you're
now
able to
on.
share your
Somebody
feelings
called
with
you
I
us,
love
Fonz
so it's
Fonz.
Jr.
good.
Somebody called me
Wait a
Fonz.
minute.
Trust me, I seen it in the chat. Seen it in the chat.
Who
Calm down.
called you
Just don't be
that?
slandering Fonz. All right.
oh, yeah, don't
All
do
right.
that. He's our
Somebody did.
favorite
Somebody
curmudgeon.
called me
Stop
that.
that.
Riskit called me that.
Stop that.
Yeah. Look, Kay Asante, brother, I've been listening to a lot of you guys for it feels like years now, and I've only sort of started listening to like the podcast scene when this generation of consoles come out, and I didn't even know there was a bunch of guys like this who talk games, and it was awesome, and it's very surreal to be having conversations with people that you've been listening to for years. So I feel like I know you, but you don't know me, and it's really good. I love your show. You're very
Oh,
knowledgeable. I
I've
love
heard you
listening.
speak a
You're
couple
one.
times. I'm getting to know you, man. I'm getting to know you.
Yeah. Hey man, I am what I am. You'll get to know me. You
I
love
love
me
it. It's
soon
great.
enough.
It's great, bro. It's
Look,
great.
man,
It's absolutely great.
I love your style, brother. So yeah, thank you for being here, and thanks for everyone for putting up with me. And I'll be here 2 weeks on, then 2 weeks off. I work every second 2 weeks on, so I'm not going to be back for a couple of weeks. So you can all have a break from me. So thank you.
Work. He sits in a chair, pulling levers.
I do actually. Hey, one lever. I
Donte.
mean,
Oh, whoa, pause. No, did he?
that's how you operate cranes, like this. That is how I operate my crane.
Donte, another fantastic show, man. Let people know where they can find you. Thanks for setting up every week. Take it away.
You can find me here obviously every Fridays at what time we rock 8 p.m. Eastern time. First off, I want to give a big shout out to Kay Asante. Pleasure to have you on the show, brother. Always enjoy watching your videos, checking you out on your show. Always enjoy your insight, man. So thank you for coming on. Garuda, as always, good seeing you, bro. So I'm glad that we're gonna be seeing you more often. So it's gonna suck. I'm not seeing you the next couple weeks, but can't wait for you to come back. And hey, don't feel free to share your opinion the way you want, man. You're like
Absolutely.
you give your honest critique, and that's what we need. So I completely.
I never
respect
have
that.
any, and I will never sort of go at anyone personally. Always with kindness, and it's always from the
Exactly.
heart. It's never get slander for no reason.
Exactly. I never get the feeling that you're like just trying to be contrarian or anything like that. So I always
Never, man.
respect your takes.
Never.
You can also
Thank
find
you.
me on the Boozy Box Office podcast. Me and a buddy do a podcast for movies where we watch deep. You do deep to medium dives on movies, and we have a drink based upon the theme that we're dealing with. So sometimes it get a little bit ridiculous, but that's the fun of it. I think we're going to move it to YouTube, so stay tuned for that. We still haven't quite narrowed that down. You can also catch me on Twitter, Donte J Moody, and on Xbox, Spriggan113. As always, chat, you guys are the absolute best. And as always, to my wonderful panel, you guys are always rocking. I'm sorry for Blue with your headache. But look, you earned the headache you have now because you did such an amazing job yesterday. So I'm very, very, very proud of you. Umbra, as always, brother, good talking to you. I got to see you online so we can get down on some games, and same if you Riskit. We got to actually play where I can see if Riskit is purposely killing his friends or not within some Helldivers.
The answer is yes.
I've never purposely hurt anyone in a video game.
Okay.
Moving on. Blue, another fantastic show. Sorry to keep you so long. I know you're struggling with a headache, but it was a good show. It was a good chat. So let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, what's happening next for the superstar. What runways will you be on? What are you modeling? You know, are we talking Gucci? What's happening?
Yeah. So Ben and I are doing like a little tiny mini coin podcast tour. Don't do that. Stop it.
Yeah, full screen blue. Full screen blue.
Riskit with all the power is just not a good world to live in. This is a democracy, sir.
He's part of the enclave.
I need some liberty. So we're starting it off with Kay Asante tomorrow, and in 11 and a half hours we'll be talking coins. So then the Renegade Realm podcast on Tuesday nights at 5 p.m. Central, and then back here. And also, actually, I think on Sunday I'm going to do Pixelated Echoes with 3-bit. So
Awesome.
that's my week, and then I'll be back here next Friday.
Absolutely
thanks, everybody.
fantastic. Well, Umbra, let everyone know where they can find you, what we'll be up to, and we will get out of here. Descriptions down below. Take it away.
Yeah. I don't know why I did that. Anyway,
What are you doing, bro?
I don't know. I wanted to make you upset again somehow with
He
sounding
was thinking
sexual.
about the yams.
Yeah, I was.
No, I don't.
Can I get to
Just
the
don't do it on my
end?
TV, bro.
Look at Garuda. You are a prude. Garuda Peruda. That's going to be your name from now on.
No
Wow.
way.
Garuda Peruda. No, but seriously, no. Like Donte said, I echo that. Sure, be honest with your thoughts. Always, we always welcome that. I can tell you right now, Riskit and myself are particularly that way. I don't want you to lie and sugarcoat anything.
Thanks,
So
bro.
speak your mind always.
Thank you,
And
brother.
shout out to all of you. Yeah, no doubt, brother. Shout out to the panel here. All of you guys, love you. Love hearing your takes and knowledge. Kay, always, of course, my first ever podcasting channel and opportunity was on Kay's podcast. So thank you for being here with us. It always is a pleasure. Why are we focused on Blue right now? What the heck happened, Risk? Imagine my voice
He is
coming out of
drunk
her.
with power, is what he is. He
Right.
is drunk with power. Someone should shock his keyboard.
Highlight on her again while I talk, so it can sound like my voice is coming from her.
Can you mount?
Oh, bro.
Yeah, can you do that? No.
Nice. No, but it was a good show. Had a fun time talking with you guys. I put it in the chat already. If you guys have not done so in the chat, my link is there. The Fix on Thursdays at 8:00 Eastern. Come by. Oftentimes, I've opted to do it solo dolo, if you will, myself and Danny. But at times I'll have a guest or two. You know, it is what it is. But we will be having more discussions on Fallout again. Episode 3 and 4 coming up this weekend. It will be spoiler discussions. I will give in advance before we talk about it on the show. But beware of that. But come by for gaming discussions and everything else like that as well. And thank you guys in the chat for being here with us. And Riskit, you did a good job with the new layout and all that, I will say. Except for when you had me at the bottom with stuff in my way. But yeah, other than that, good job.
Get on camera, then we'll worry about it.
Hey.
Well, I just figured out how to remove that. So that's cool. I was shifting stuff around. But it's a great little setup. I like what's going on here, and it's got a lot of options, a lot more options than a lot of other things offer. So I'll be adding stuff to the show. But yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic, mostly without a hitch. Thank you guys, all the panel. Okay, again, guest, chat. You guys have been absolutely amazing. We'll get out of here and we'll see you all next week. Check down in the description for everyone's links. Head down there, click their links, especially Superstar. She's doing Gucci stuff, man. She's on the runways.
And if Umbra comes on camera,